tapping into the divine is through the art. It's not through the artist. In my darkness, I think I'm losing part of my soul when I do this.
I had a Harvey Weinstein story.
Luke Cook is an Australian actor and comedian known for his viral TikTok videos as well as appearances in shows like Hacks, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and is leading the new CW show Good Cop, Bad Cop with Leighton Meester out this February 19th.
That's a crazy love story,
Crazy.
Luke.
Also, I'd never had panic attacks before until I started dating her. If you're getting maybe vibes, it's a no.
What is it? Post-nut regret?
Yeah, the post-nut clarity is what it's called.
Post-nut clarity.
I'm going to be Britney, Madonna, Rihanna. It's like, yeah, no, actually, those are other people's names too. I want to be more than life, not life.
I don't want to be numbed.
Then this baby comes out that's not breathing. I think I appeal to the dumb in a really okay way. We need people like us. And we need to be surrounded.
It's a whole nother level. A whole nother level. A whole nother level.
So I don't know if I've begun yet, but Susie just told me she's dating somebody on Hinge, and you were disappointed.
Wait, no, we're not. We're putting that out. No, because we're still talking. Oh, God.
No, now we can't go.
We can't.
Started officially. Started officially now.
Oh, God. Okay, but we could talk about Hinge profiles and,
Sure.
I'm sure how it is you're married now, so.
I am, but I'd like to talk about that. I like the dating scene and understanding romance.
Oh my God, it's wild. It's crazy
Must
out
be
there.
wild.
It's I feel like the algorithm. It's really interesting because I can kind of tell now if somebody's going to look like they're going to look. So I was like, you look exactly like how you look.
Oh, that's good. I'm
on
glad you think
Instagram.
that.
Yeah,
I feel the same about you. I feel the same about you. What they're saying about Bumble and things like that is that a huge proportion of women are vying for a very small amount of men. Mm-hmm. So all the men who are on there,
7%. It's 7% get all the women.
Right.
They
so
get
that's
all the women.
93% who are on Bumble for no reason and are like, what's going on? Why can't I make any of this work? And I saw this excellent video the other day from a guy whose girlfriend works at Bumble, and he said, guys, get off it and go and live your life. Go out, go to bars, do what you like to do, go to the gym, go to places and go and do things that you like to do, rock climbing, whatever.
It's literally
it be,
what I hate it.
and be with
hate
people.
Yep.
Get around people
That's
that
what I'm doing.
love to do what you do. Like that's it.
That's literally what I'm
Yeah.
doing because I just got so fed up. I mean, I dated everyone on Raya. Everyone.
Wow.
I'm just so busy.
Yes.
So, not everyone. But yeah, it was just like it was very interesting. I met so many interesting people. Very, very successful, amazing men. But it just, I feel like there's no bonding. There's no like we're building something together. We're meeting in, I don't know. There's more of when you're doing like, the thing, this way. It's just
The
a black.
swiping
It's the Black Mirror episode.
Okay.
Where it's like
what is
everyone's. It's like everyone's disposable. I think it's like easy, literally, to discard people.
Yes.
And everyone has a story, and everyone's. If you just listen long enough, like everyone, just being on the show everyone is just so fascinating. So, you might not line up, or you might not be compatible, but it has been really interesting. Just, yeah, I think 7% of the men get all the women, and so it's just it. I think it was Jordan Peterson that said it creates this mentality where it creates men like psychopaths, where psychopathic behavior, where it's like you can, sleep with a woman and then be like, no, okay, I'm bored. I'm going to go to the next one. And then literally just have, and I was seeing from this guy, like literally, he was lining them up. I was like, every girl is a 10. Holy shit. But I wonder because everyone, is tweaking. Like I don't generally try. I mean, I might use like, there's like not like a filter, but like,
Just a little one.
Not like a face filter, but more of like, like a hipstamatic or something like different, lighting or something like that. But generally I don't tweak my photos. So it's pretty much me.
I think, I feel like your face is what I expected it to look like.
Yes.
And you know that Instagram and TikTok both use automatic filters, as in you can't just look the way that it is supposed to look. They both make you look more beautiful than you are. They both perfect you to a very small extent. Even the naturals, when there's no filter, there's still a filter on those.
Seriously?
Yep. TikTok does it all the time, automatically, without you asking. So because it wants to make you feel good.
Oh my God. You're like a viral TikTok star.
I guess.
You're accidentally just doing these hilarious videos.
Yeah.
Making me laugh endlessly. I'm constantly reposting. Me and my best friend Leah Lamar, we absolutely love you. You make us laugh endlessly.
I love Leah.
Isn't she?
Very funny person.
She's so funny.
Yes.
So she literally has the best one-liners all the time. Just literally like, where the fuck do you come up with that? Every time.
I met her a few years ago and immediately thought, oh my gosh, I am married. And I mean that in the best sense. I was just like, if I was single, you would totally be someone I would date. Like I would absolutely like.
Yeah.
And you just every so often, you have like I've been single. I was single for 33 years, and then you're suddenly married, and you are never going back on the market again. As far as I'm concerned, right?
You have an incredible wife, by the way.
Thank you. She's a terrific woman.
She's a gem.
I'm aware.
She's a gem.
That's why I'm never going back on the market again.
Yeah.
But I remember meeting Leah and like her being so funny and us riffing, and I go, yeah. I'm like, oh, Luke, you're married? Remember that. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. Because there's some part of your body that's just like, hey, we should flirt with this person. We should see where this can go. It's like, it can't go anywhere. Yeah. You're married.
Yeah.
How
is that journey for a man? Because I feel like it is different for women. Where you can, like, I think it's easier to get caught up for men where it is for women where I think we're more connected to like maybe our hearts, and it's like sort of comes from, child rearing and raising babies where we have to always be super connected. What's your take on that?
It seems to be the case evolutionarily that men like to spread their wild seed.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And
forgot about that.
It does take, honestly, it did take me a while. I remember in that first year of marriage to adjust. I am no longer in the market. I mean, I hadn't been in the market since starting to date my now wife, but it's strange when you are literally contractually, like it's over. There's nothing, no more. I would have nightmares. For the first year, I had nightmares about cheating on her. Like I'd wake up, like, when you cheat on... When you
in your dreams
when
all
you make
the time.
out with somebody in your dreams, and it's good, right? You kind of like, I want to know
you want to go back into the dream all the time.
And then you get pulled out at the wrong time, et cetera, et cetera. For me, if I go there with a person in the dream, I come out in a sweat.
You're like, oh my God.
I'm like, oh no, I did the wrong thing. And then I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, thank God I have not cheated on my wife. But it is an adjustment. Like literally the way that you've been oriented has to shift completely. And you go, you are no longer in the market, and you are no longer going to spread your wild seed among a number of people. You are now going to only give your seed to one person, and your character has to shift accordingly. So your personality and the way that you are in the world, when you're single, you can be openly flirtatious and have a lot of fun, and it doesn't matter which direction it goes in. As a married man, you can have fun, but the direction can't go in certain places. There's no-go areas.
There's boundaries.
Yeah, there really is.
Yeah.
And I think I'm generally what people call flirtatious, but I'm actually just having fun.
Totally. It's play. You're just in constant play.
So I have to be cautious about where we go. Like we can't go to the sexual. We can't go to, touching, we can't go there. But when single and having fun, I mean, you could totally, it was an open game, a touch of the arm, it was regular, like, hey, look at your hair. It was like, like things like that. You cannot do that anymore, And it's just an adjustment.
And how do you adjust being an actor? I mean, you have to do the love scenes. And so how you seem... I adore you. Like this is the first time I'm meeting you, and I just feel like we align on so many viewpoints, just on health, on wellness. I feel like you post a lot of the same things. We have the same sense of humor.
We have the same algorithm.
We
like the same people. I've noticed that. Yes. Yeah.
We like the same people. So how is that transition happen? Because sometimes it's like, when I've been in a relationship, and then I have these love scenes, and then I'm just like very. I was with a boyfriend at the time years ago where he was just like, I don't give a shit. Like, it's fine. Like, if you want to cheat, like, then that's your problem. And you're like, you're the one who's going to ruin it. And I was like, don't you have any sense of jealousy? Because, like, the part of me, you know, that's like, you like the Viking that's just like, mine, you know? And so.
Which is natural.
And
people who don't have that can be odd.
Yeah, well, I think he was just pretending, and I think it was, you know, he's a Canadian English sensibilities of like, no, I'm fine. It's just a flesh wound. You know, someone like bites off, you're like, no, it's fine.
I'm sorry.
sorry.
Yeah.
So I think that in that sense, I think he wouldn't let on to that, that he felt insecure. I think that was like a him thing. But how do you navigate being really respectful in an industry where we have to be super intimate and have like, and not just, you know how it is. It's like it's summer camp where you're like not just having sex scenes, but you're like emotionally, spiritually intertwined and being intimate and really getting in there.
Yes.
How do you find those boundaries?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Showmances are a real thing. Like you just said, we intertwine artistically, creatively, physically sometimes. And showmances happen because you're going through this chaotic period of your life with teammates.
Trauma bonding.
Yeah, you're trauma bonding in many ways. You know, it's kind of traumatic, kind of not. More like summer campish.
Totally.
You're going through the same thing all together, which is really fun, and that's why showmances happen all the time. The truth is, you need to be when you want to have when you want to create a romantic relationship on screen that works. Having chemistry is good. So you create the chemistry by just having fun with a person, they have fun with you, and that's chemistry right there. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be this, it's not actual chemistry. You're just having fun together, which is just what
you're playing.
It means you like enjoy each other.
Yeah.
You know, you're having fun. The physical for me is easy, like, because we don't have, it's not an arousing experience making out with somebody on camera. Mm-hmm. For the most part, Denzel Washington famously said, like, about erections during sex scenes, he said, sorry if I do, sorry if I don't. Yes.
That's perfect.
And I feel like physically, like, don't worry about that. Like, that's going to come, and what the camera reads is the most important. Whether you enjoy kissing somebody or having the sex scene is not important. It's you probably will not. But you do have to draw a line in the sand if you're a married person of, like, how much you're going to enjoy this person. Mm-hmm. And my deal is leave, like, once the workday is over, go home. That's good.
Take a cold shower. Take a
just
cold
go
shower.
Home.
Just
go home. Like, don't leave it at work.
Leave it at work.
You know, like, don't text late.
Yeah.
Which is just actually across the board a good idea for anyone who's an actor or actress dealing with people at work. Don't text them outside of office hours. If they text you, don't text them back. They can wait until 9 the next day.
That's
like,
amazing.
just don't entertain it, because once you're outside of that, you're inviting the unprofessional, and also you're entertaining your unprofessional side too.
For sure.
So, like, leave it alone. And it's great to enjoy people, but that should live in a certain part of your life, especially if you're married.
Yeah.
In a relationship too.
I mean, I remember, like, before, like, the whole Me Too thing happened, we did this show called Famous Adjacent, and there was this scene where it was like, oh, you're meeting, and we had this, like, fake setup story, but it was very female girls meets Entourage before they made it. And so my character is like, oh yeah, you're going on like, it was like the Wahlberg Project, right? And they're like, yeah, I'm going to go meet with the producer. And she's like, yeah, business doesn't happen, like, after hours. Like, it's like between, like, 9 and 5 p.m. at their office. And
yes.
Maybe not for Harvey Weinstein, because it doesn't seem to matter if it was, like, at his office or, you know.
Oh my gosh.
I had a Harvey Weinstein story. And what was really interesting about Harvey, he was really charming. Mm-hmm. Like, he was totally a bully. You know, he was very, like, alpha, and you could see he was really overcompensating. And if you've heard the trial, you know.
Oh, he has a small.
I guess.
Is he small?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, it's micro.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. In the news, they were talking about it. I haven't seen it, thank God.
Knock on wood, I'm pretty sure you're never going to see it at this point.
You know what I mean?
It is interesting to think of an alpha male with a small penis.
Yeah.
Because is that what drove him to be an alpha?
I think he had something happen bad.
Oh.
Like, there was, like, a trauma.
Oh, I see.
Well, the first time I met Weinstein.
Yeah, tell me.
So the first time I met him, it was actually, I snuck into a Weinstein party. It was the Oscars.
Wow.
And it was at, it was like in my 20s when I was just, I would go to some of these parties I would get invited to. And then some of them I was just like, I need to sneak in. I need to like meet people. I need to figure out how to, get in here and, pitch my scripts or whatever. Like it was ridiculous.
I know
like,
those big dreams.
Yes.
Those dreams you're not ready for.
Oh God. So
I know them well.
oh my God. So embarrassing. So somehow I sneak into the Soho House, like through the elevator, back door.
That's
and
hard.
Yeah. So
I know that place.
I mean, now I'm a member, but before I don't know, like I'm 26, 27. And there's Harvey, and he's got two women on his side, two young, beautiful women, and he's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "It's Harvey Weinstein," and I didn't know all this. I didn't know anything, so I'm just sort of like kind of going along with the crew of like I'm with them, and so then I kind of just follow him, and I just manage to just go with his crew. And so I get to go to this, one of his big Oscar parties, like after parties, and there's Leo, and there's Ryan Gosling. I'm like sort of like tapping, like I'm like
Wow.
trying to, I'm tapping on his shoulder as I'm trying to get to wherever I'm getting to. I have a chat with Tarantino and Inglourious Bastard guy, Christoph Waltz, who I'm just like, oh, he's amazing.
Yeah.
And I see my friend who worked in Inglourious Bastards and Sam Levine, and shout out to Sam. And he was like, I was like, oh my God, and so I chat with Harvey for a brief second. I'm like, hey, I'd love to have a meeting in your office. And he's like, yeah, sure. He's like, great, here's my number and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm telling Sam this. He's like, whatever you do not meet Harvey. And I was like, wait, why? And he's like, well, because he'll try to sleep with you. I'm like, every guy in Hollywood tries to sleep with you. That's the whole thing. Man, woman, doesn't fucking matter. I'm sure it happened to you all the time. So it's like, and he's like, no, but I'll meet him in his office. He's like, it doesn't matter. He'll try to like, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, it's fine. It's something I can't handle. It's, I'm used to this. Like,
Sure.
I'm swimming with sharks all day long, you know?
You didn't understand the extent.
He was a giant killer megalodon.
Wow.
So,
With a really small penis.
So the second time I met OJ,
Oh, you're doing a Chappelle
yeah,
reference.
I'm doing Chappelle. Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Chappelle reference. So I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, I'd love to meet you. I have this film that is looking for distribution. I starred in it, and it was a very like indie. I was playing an addict and a recovered addict, whatever. And so he's like, hey, like, let's meet at the Peninsula Hotel, the infamous Peninsula, right?
Oh my God.
So we get to the Peninsula, and he comes. So there's him with another 20-year-old, so he's like, I'm waiting for like 20 minutes. I'm like down at the lobby. We're supposed to have just like lunch or drinks or whatever. It's the middle of the day. So I'm thinking like, this is fine. Business hours. And he comes barreling down, like just shit all over his shirt and all disheveled. And they just sort of, and he's like, oh, I don't know her. Like, I was like, okay. Well, no one said it, but now I'm curious. And he's like, ah. So then we're sitting down. It's so fucking bizarre. And I'm, giving him the pitch about this film and how excited we are, and we're looking for distribution. And he's like, so are you married? And I wore a fake ring just because I'm so used to it. So I was like, I wore a fake ring, and I did have a boyfriend at the time. And he's like, I'm just having problems in my marriage and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And so he's, look, I don't normally do this, but I'm gonna watch your film. And and so I hand him like this is back when there were still DVDs. There's still DVDs. And so I get the nicest email of my life. He's like, hey, we're not going to pick this up, but your performance in it was absolutely incredible. You blew me away, like blah, blah. I mean, he didn't say blew me away, but now I'm like, the operative word. No, that never happened, by the way.
I want you to blow me away.
So ultimately, nicest email of my life. I send this to my manager, and she's like, oh, Harvey Weinstein. And I'm like, and I still haven't heard. I'm like, well, this is the typical LA. So the third time I met OJ,
Oh my God.
I hit him up for tickets for like, it was like the Oscar party. And so so I always had a buffer. And so I brought my, so he was so professional, and he was actually really nice at that second meeting. And so he's like, here, I have tickets for you. And he was meeting with another 20-year-old. And I brought my my manager's assistant, and who's kind of like into PR. So I was like, oh, this is my PR lady. Like, and he's like, oh, great. And he's like, here you go. Like, have a great time. And he's like, sent me on my way. And I was like, wow, he's getting such a bad rep. He's wonderful. Like, what's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
Fourth time I met OJ. First time. So the last time, it's like a year later, and we have this show called Famous Adjacent about the underbelly of the industry of just pulling back the curtain. And, in one of the trailers, it was like, you fuck Ratner in the bathroom in the Soho House. You can get him to read the script, right? I mean, like, literally, we had these, like one of the characters is snorting coke off someone's dick. Anyway, it's that morning of the Golden Globes, and I just have I have a crazy intuition, and I was like, I need to bring my writing partner. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna bring, I don't tell him, I just bring my writing partner. So there is the assistant waiting down at the Peninsula Hotel, and I'm thinking we're gonna just, meet for breakfast. No, we're not. She stares at my my writing partner, turns white. She's like, you brought her? Like, there's another? And I'm like, yeah, what's the problem? We're doing a pitch. And my voice goes up. And then so we go up the elevator. So she makes a bunch of calls. She's frantically typing, texting on her phone. Then we, she's like, okay, well, so she goes up to the room. We go into this giant suite of his, Peninsula Hotel. And there's this layout of like fit for a king, of just like all the types of food and everything. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is some king shit, And so me and Christy are just sitting there looking at ourselves being just like, this is bad. We're getting a bad feeling, and all like the assistants are sort of like cleaning things up and like feeling really frantic and really like scared of what's going to happen. And they're like, oh God, oh no. Like something bad is going to happen. And then they just like leave, and like Harvey Weinstein comes barreling in with shit all over his shirt, like in sweatpants, and like just looks like he's coming in from Hookers and Blow. And I'm just like, oh, damn. And he's like, hello, nice to meet you. He literally grabs Christy by both hands, shoves her into a fucking elevator. He's like, please come with me, like, blah, 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 blah. Like pushes her, and I like literally stare at her, and we have this telepathic conversation, and she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, and I'm like telepathically like, if I'm not down in like 2 minutes, like call the police. So like we're winking, and she's like, I got you, girl, I got you. I'm like, I can handle it. Look, I can handle animals, like big animals. I can do it. I've had encounters with giant mountain lions. It's fine. So he's like, Susie, you come with me. How could you do this? How could you embarrass me like that? Brings me back. There's fucking Michael J. Fox. He's like, hey, Harvey, like, as he's passing by, I'm like, what is happening? As I'm getting just completely annihilated by this guy, just, verbally. He brings me into his room, and he's like, I can't believe you do this, and just keeps just showering me with just insults and whatever. And I'm just like, this is nothing. I was like, you don't know where I was like, I'm come from Miami, bitch. So anyway, so he's just like hurling these insults, and then he's like, but here's the thing, I do want to make this happen. You help me, I help you. And I was like, oh, don't you know? I suddenly was like, oh, I just want to work with you. And I just kept repeating that over and over. I'm just like, I just want to work with you. You just do inspiring films, and I just want to work with you. For literally, we were just in the standstill of like, oh, you help me, I help you, and trying to like grab me. And I'm like, no, you stay here, I stay here. And so we were in this standstill for just repeating whatever our phrases were. And I just kept very aggressively repeating them. And then there was a moment, he's like, well, if I leave now, like nothing will happen, and it's all going away. And I was like, I just got out of a relationship. He's like, oh, come here. So he tries to grab me, and I'm like, no. Because I was like, I will bite your fucking face off. Like, maybe I'll die, but you're not getting out of this like without some scars. So wow. Like, I'm a feral. So then he was like, I'm like, no, you stay here. I just kept repeating that phrase. I just want to work with you. I just want to work with you. And he's like, he gets up and he's like, never contact me again, but I will set you up a meeting with my VP. And then he left. And then I was like, I go downstairs. She's like, Christy was like, are you all right? And I was like, yeah, hopefully we're not blacklisted. And so like, that was my Harvey Weinstein story. Sorry.
Thank God you're strong.
I think it's the athlete, and I think I had gone.
Not physically. I'm serious. Thank God you're strong mentally.
No, totally. But it's the athlete in me, and I've dealt with so many crazy things. Like after I was in the music industry, and that's nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah, ditties. They're everywhere. Clive, what's his name?
Clive Davis.
Clive Davis. I've heard that he is just a dreadful, dreadful human. I've always thought that about the music industry. I'm like, I'm so grateful to be in the industry of tigers that I'm in, rather than that
It's more corporate.
Music.
It's the mafia. It's literally run by the mafia. There's a mafia mentality. I remember there was a moment where I could have gotten in front of Diddy, and me and my manager, we looked at Diddy and we went, he chews people up and spits them out. And we both went hard.
But at least he lubes them well beforehand.
He does. He really does.
A lot of baby oil.
Oh God.
He's really good at that.
Just all you see in his fridge is his baby oil.
But also, within the management is one thing, which they're dreadful. But you also see the utter narcissism of what they put out. People who are like, oh, I actually don't want to use my last name anymore. I'm going to be Britney, Madonna, Rihanna. It's like, yeah, no, actually, those are other people's names too. You don't get to just take a whole name for yourself. It just breeds narcissism. And, if Hollywood...
Cher's pretty great, though.
They're all great. They're all really good. But, you don't get to take a whole name for yourself. Yeah. It's like the fact that you think that you can is this, God complex that you've given to yourself. And if actors could do it, they would.
They would totally.
But they don't for some reason. I just think
would.
that music particularly is such a gross industry that breeds narcissism.
Yeah.
And if you make it to the top, it's so crazy that you did, you may as well get a God complex on top of it,
Well, do you think that part of what we're doing, we're tapping into that part of God? I like from a really genuine sense of we're tapping into the divine, we're tapping into I think there's this thought that it's the artists know things that will happen in the world, and it's always very prophetic. A lot of storytelling is, and so we're bringing something that feels if you're doing it right in the most authentic sense of storytelling. It's you're bringing these stories and then having to make sense of them and make sense of our world, and then put it back onto the screen. And I think in a sense it's tapping into God. So
when you do it, when art can be, and viewing art can be a godlike experience, you're connected to the divine. Making art can also be that, but the difference is between what I was just talking about and what art is that we're talking about the person who is very much a narcissist. And if you want it, if you love an artist, meet them, see how shit they can be. They're so, mostly for the most part, you meet your heroes and they will let you down because you have a unreal expectation of what they may be like. Mm-hmm. But when you work with big, I've worked with big actors that are these, icons, and then you meet them and you're like, oh, you can be shit. They can be shit artists and they can be shit people. They can be both, just like you and me.
Yeah,
totally, we can be shit
100%.
people and we can be shit at art. And there is the way to the divine, the tapping into the divine is through the art. It's not through the artist.
Yeah, I would agree.
So actors walk around they're incredible, and it's actually no, you're not incredible, but your art is quite good.
Totally.
People are coming up to you and wanting to meet you because of your art, not because of you. We need to realize that all the time. It's if people come up to you and go, I loved you in that show, what they're actually saying is, I loved the show. I don't love you. I love the show.
No,
I don't love you. I love the work.
I love the work.
I don't love you. I love the work. And so, but actors go they love me. No, they don't. They love the work.
I have a hot take. So I feel sometimes I can see the soul of someone, because you tend to play characters where it's
partly you.
It's partly you. You're just you're dialing certain things up, and you can kind of just always see the soul in someone. At least I feel I can, where I'm oh yeah, this makes sense. You're playing your shadow, you're playing, the dialed up hero version or whatever that is. And so I feel there is some truth to that. So there is you can kind of see who someone is in their performance. What do you think?
A portion of who they are.
That's true.
A good portion, also a crafted version, where they have
true.
lines and they know what they're going to do in every scene. They know what their behavior is going to be in every scene. And so we're like, oh, we see their soul. It's like we may, but we see a crafted soul. We see not a authentic, real one. Hold them up in traffic. Seriously, serve them at a restaurant and do a bad job. See what they're like.
Have you had some
perfectly
crazy
crafted,
experiences?
They're perfectly crafted, produced, scripted, with color grading, sound grading, music on top of that is not who they are. That is the cumulative effect of production, and that is produced version of what they can be, a portion of their soul we maybe get to see. The truth of them is, who are they in a crisis? Who are they, or who are they when things go slightly wrong for them and they're a little bit irritated? Who are they then? So I just think we take the power away from the artist who has gotten out of control in their narcissism, and we give it to their art, which is actually where our love is supposed to be placed.
Yeah. Do you think, the whole idea of being an artist, I know part of my journey of being an artist has been not getting enough attention to survive. But then I also happen to be a total artist. I would draw and I would paint and I would tell stories. So there was sort of this built-in, I want attention, and it was either really bad attention, or it was I'm in the principal's office again and I'm talking and, trying to one up with the boys of, when I was a kid and being the rebel, feral 5-year-old. And then, I don't know, later in life, and then you're turning yourself into a superhero to try to get attention in that way. But do you think a lot of artists, why do you think that is with the narcissism? Do you think it's because, of that sort of trauma of, not getting hugged enough, getting loved enough, and then suddenly it pushes them to be me.
Sure.
I'm one name. It's just
Yes.
sort of what you're talking about. So it's always, you can kind of see it where you're damn. I see some of those people that you would mention, and there's one in there who I just grew up loving, and I feel like she's, she was all about evolution of herself and always reinventing herself, and then it feels like she took a weird turn. I don't want to mention.
Did she become political?
No, she just became she didn't evolve beyond I think she's in her 60s now, and it felt oh, you're doing a weird thing, you're trying to hold on to your youth kind of thing.
Oh, I see.
Instead of evolving in this beautiful space of wondering, you're the elder, you
Right.
have all this ancient wisdom, and instead of using it, you're holding on to the past. And
Yes.
I don't know. So what's your hot take about why artists, why that's such a prevalent thing?
Well, when you perform, you get attention, which is what you like. And then if you perform well, you get good attention, which is also what you like, and also feeds the ego and makes you feel like I exist, right? It's the world telling you that you exist. But also we exist in a culture that is Hollywood, where, you and I have entered a time when we entered in the 2000s, the 2010s,
Yep.
2000s, whatever, when it was already set in stone. When you do well at performing, you will become a star. You walk down the street and people will recognize you. You will become the focus and you will be praised. But it's like what I was just saying before. So I'm saying, yes, there's the attention that we want and crave. And there's also the culture that says when you're good at your art, you're going to be worshipped when you walk down the street, which I'm saying is not a good thing. And I wish it was less that. I wish people were aware that I, as a person, am as shitty as you, despite what you think of me from the television. You might go, I love you. And it's like, no, you don't. You like a portion of me that's heavily produced.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's not me that you love. So, if you were to put your love right where it was supposed to go, you'd say to me when I'm acting the character on the perfectly crisp color screen, I love you. That's what you mean. Whereas you're coming up to me on the street, Luke Cook, who's impatient and sometimes yells at his wife and kids, and you're coming up and I love you. And it's like, yeah, but you don't know me. I'm really glad that you do, because it fills a part of me that's like, oh, it's so good to feel that. I'm so you care about me, you're attentive to me. you give me attention and it's positive, like it's not a bad thing. It's really nice.
Sure.
But I think it's misplaced maybe. And it's really nice. I just want to be clear. Like, I really like when people come up to me and say, I like this.
Do a lot of people come up to you?
Every so often, like, people come up and everyone's so nice. I really love it.
Yeah.
But it's misplaced. Like, it's like, you don't really know me. You don't really love me. You like what I do. And that's really good. And it's by design. Like, I want you to love me. I want you to tell me that this portion of me is really good.
No.
So that I feel like I'm actually good everywhere. But that's not the case. Like, this portion is hopefully what you really like. And it'll make me feel like I'm really good generally. And it's like, I'm still like, I'm still like a failure at home sometimes.
I mean, aren't we all?
Right.
It's like fucking A, the amount of times that I insert foot in mouth and that I'm literally, I want to post this TikTok where it's like the shower, like literally you're in the shower, like washing, you're like, damn it, remember that time in like 10 years ago when I said that and I did that? Oh, and it just, God.
Do you physically tense when you think of stupid things you've done? And
Yes.
stuff? Yeah, me too.
The amount of times that I go to sleep, I have to like literally try to relax my body of all the things that I'm like, okay, here we go. And I've been like trying to meditate of like, I hold on to like the fear of like, oh, when am I going to get my next paycheck? When am I going to work again? So I
feel tension here. You hold tension here in the forearms and the hands.
Here. It's
In
my
the
jaw.
yeah.
So I hold my jaw.
You got a good
really
jaw,
tight.
though.
I have a strong jaw.
Strong jawline. Men hold it in their calves.
Oh.
Mostly. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
Yeah, so like Maori, like my wife is an indigenous New Zealander, which is called a Māori.
Oh.
And the Maori body workers with men dig their elbows into men's calves.
Oh my God.
Because that's where they hold the tension.
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if everyone will, if there's men listening to this going, no. Maybe, and I don't want to mock your voice. Maybe that's true. But when I am on edge, you will see my calves flexing and unflexing, or just remaining flexed. When somebody says something stupid or I say something that could be or is stupid, I flex my calves. And I'm like, when I heard that, I was like, that's true. Oh my God, that's so true. I hold it right in my calves.
Oh my God.
But I also can walk around in the middle of the day in public and cringe my face thinking of things that I did 10 years ago, like going like, ugh. I can do it about things that I did at like 13. And you go, God, you can't forgive yourself for back then. I mean, if you were conscious, it's okay. Like you wake up and you go, it's okay, dude. You were 13. Like what did you really know?
Yeah.
Like hitting on like a fully grown woman at 13. I remember doing that and her just going, and her just hugging me, just going, you know, and just she would have been thinking pathetic. But I was like, I was infatuated with this grown woman. And I cringe about that. I'm like, oh God,
You still cringe?
But I can't help it.
Are you really hard on yourself? Like, what's your self-talk?
Yeah, I'm quite hard on myself when I'm not thinking, when I'm not been properly conscious of what's going on. I guess I'm quite hard on myself. Like I can leave functions in a kind of a mess because I said stupid things. But it's really hard. You have to forgive yourself. And the reason
I kind of love the stupid things that you say.
Thank
it
you.
makes you like, it makes me follow you, and you're so entertaining.
Thank you. But here's what I think, and it's not always this isn't always the case, but because I push the envelope of a joke, I'm more likely to put my foot in my mouth.
Same.
And so that's why I have to give myself grace, because the intention was good. Mm-hmm. I was trying to make a joke. It didn't work, and it was actually really embarrassing. And so then I recently did a TV show of which I was on set.
Was this Hacks?
No. Oh. Good Cop, Bad Cop, which I recently booked. Like I was my first lead in a TV show.
Huge.
It's not out yet. Very good. Huge
It's
for me.
amazing. It's
huge.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I also wanted to talk about this.
And we will. But on set, I was the lead, and so I was always on set, always had the lines, always was mixing with everybody, was always involved with every department and talking to everybody. So you'd have about 200 moments with different people every day, 200 different ones. And one of those, I would fuck up. Like I'd just get it wrong. I'd say something bad, wrong, stupid, maybe trying to crack a joke. But then this is what I thought about.
Like what would be the joke?
It would just be like
pushing the envelope.
Have an attempt at a joke, no one laughs. And maybe they're even like, actually offensive.
You know what? Maybe it's the sarcastic Aussie, New Zealand.
Yeah, maybe.
You know?
I don't know if it's look. My particular sense of humor is like shocking. Like so, I like to shock people with oh shit, you just said that, and that can lead to either guffaws of laughter, which is really good. I like that, or like I cannot believe you just said that. And so I would walk away from nearly every day I shot going, wow, I said that, and I think about it over and over. But because it was every day, I had to go, you can't do this every day where you beat yourself up over everything you're saying, because you're having so many days of 200 run-ins with people a day, you got to let it go.
Yeah.
And so it's like, because tomorrow's a new day, you just got to get on with it. And you can't be beating yourself up all the time because we're living life here. And so, and I always remember Patton Oswalt, because I shot a TV show, I shot Hacks with him. I was only together with him for 2 days, but he wouldn't have remembered shooting with me. I was shooting with him. I was always watching this guy because he's an amazing talent. And he was always cracking jokes off screen to everybody, like just always on cracking jokes. Maybe 25% of them didn't work. It didn't mean he would not crack a joke 1 minute later. The minute they didn't work, he goes, no one laughed. Like we're talking to like 10 people that he didn't know surrounding him at all times, and how embarrassing it is to crack jokes in front of people that you don't know and it doesn't work. Ooh. And he'd just be like, 1 minute later, new joke, works. Ah, cool. Back. But then it didn't stop him the next time. So it just kept going.
And I was like, you just have to get used to bombing.
Exactly.
That's it. You just there's beauty in the bomb.
Exactly.
You have to lean into the bomb.
And also, yes.
You have to lean in. You have to lean in and like be like, wow, it's the observational comedy. Well, and then you just start talking about the bomb and
keep going.
Wow, like the collective, like, oh wow, that was terrible. And then there's like suddenly a laugh. Like you'll find it. You keep going.
So other than offending like a couple of people a day, like it's actually been a pretty good day, because there were 200 other people, or 199, sorry, who like thought I was really, had a great time with me. We had a great time. Whereas one person was like, that was a really kind of off-color joke that he made today. And I was like, yep, I can either beat myself up about this every day while I'm shooting this show, or I can go, win some, you lose some. Get on with it.
I cracked a joke. Oh my God. It was in front of my best friend who was here, but I just really wanted to push the envelope and like, because they're like, say something shocking. And it was like, so stupid. Oh God.
Wait, on the podcast?
No. It was right before, but then I literally was beating myself up about it for like 2 days later, and I was like, why did you say that?
They said say something shocking to you.
And it was like a Rick and Morty joke. It was like I eat poop, or like something like
I love that though.
It was so aggressive. And then then I was like, oh God. And I'm like, no, I don't. I wouldn't put it past me, but no, I've never, like on my life, I swear to God. And then she,
you had to say sorry for I eat poop. Incredible.
Because they were just like trying to push the envelope of like just saying the craziest shit. And you know, that's what you do in comedy. You're trying to just one up each other of like, what's the craziest shit we can think of?
Yes.
And, you know, like break the tension. And it literally, I mean, no, like, you know, these are some of my best friends, and they, you know, we all had a laugh about it. But I suddenly, I was like, why did you say that?
Oh, it's so
like,
good. So good. We need people like us, and we need to be surrounded by people who are like, you know what? I saw what you were going for there.
Yeah,
good for you.
Good for you.
Like you could even laugh at the intent if you wanted to. You go like, I see what you were attempting. I'll give you a laugh to be nice, or you just go, better luck next time. You know, like it's okay.
And especially if it, I mean, I feel like when it doesn't land, and then you kind of have to just keep leaning into the pain, and then the observational of I'm a Larry David, like let's all collectively look at the painful moment that just is, and I get punched in the face all the fucking time. All the time. I mean, not like,
I know. Well, tell me what do you mean?
Martial arts occasionally, but no, I mean, just like, in terms of embarrassing myself, where I'll just lean right into it, you know?
Yeah.
Of just getting punched in the face and then just being like, yeah. So by the time you're sort of used to it.
Remember Patton Oswalt? You do that.
Yeah.
Just brush it off. To the point, like he probably doesn't give a shit.
But he does stand up. So
he does stand up, so he's used to it.
Yeah.
But also, like, I liked that he was just trying stuff out with us.
Yeah.
He didn't even know us.
Yeah.
He was just trying stuff out, constantly, and
He's trying
didn't
his
care when he
bits.
bombed.
He's trying to see what works.
But he's also taking it off what's going on. So it's like right in the moment. He's very sharp. But as I said, like 1 out of 10 didn't work and didn't go his way. And he just shrugged it off. I would be like, if that was me, I was thinking it when I was with him, that was me and I just bombed that and I didn't know anyone here and I didn't, like I would be so embarrassed. But he wasn't. And he just kept going. I mean, it would be fun to be Patton Oswalt a little bit because people know who you are.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows you're a famous stand-up. So it's like, okay, well, he's just doing the thing.
He's doing a thing.
If it was me, of which nobody knew me on that set, and they were like, who's this whatever?
But I feel like
blah, blah, blahing on me all the time.
Paul's a good judge of character. Like he has he's very intuitive, and I'm sure he probably saw you in your videos and was like,
Yes.
fuck yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't.
He's totally would
He was
fuck with you.
producing over there.
Oh,
I was
really?
surrounded by the actors. And so I have no doubt that I think he has been aware of me and my content for quite some
For
time.
sure. Yeah.
And then that's probably part of why I got the job because I'm a kind of a comedy guy.
Yeah.
But he was not there. He's also a very sharp person. And people like that, intimidate me to a certain degree because they're so sharp and funny and also like they'll never take it blue and dirty necessarily. Whereas I'll take it to blue and dirty.
Right.
And it makes
right.
people like that who are really good at comedy kind of go, oh, went to the
Like
cheap.
Seinfeld?
Yeah.
He keeps it clean.
He keeps it
Jay
clean.
Leno.
He's sharper than that. He's just got a great highbrow humor.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so like to be around
He
him
takes
means
it dirty. I've seen him take it
He
dirty.
takes it dirty,
I did
but
a
you-
skit with him like in college.
Really?
Yeah, we
but
did.
you got to go high. He's a high IQ is what I'm saying.
Oh,
like
no,
he's,
for sure.
He's sharp and
He's
smart.
very sharp
and
and smart.
I'm like, I think I don't know. I think I appeal to the dumb in people in a really okay way. I'm okay with it. Like, I don't think I'm my comedy isn't really smart. It's whatever it is. Like, it's just not a really intelligent humor. Whereas if you watch Hacks, it is actively intelligent. You have to be either get the joke because you're in the industry,
Yep.
or you have to be a sharp person listening to what they're saying and kind of go, oh, that was really funny.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even laugh. It was so sharp
Yeah.
and intelligent. You just let it go past. You're like, oh, that was funny. Sometimes like I'll hang out with my friends Patty and Harriet who were in that show, Colin from Accounts.
Right.
They're some of the funniest people I know, Aussies.
Of course.
And they are a married couple who make comedy TV together. And I laugh at what they said like 30 seconds after they've said it.
Oh,
So
yeah,
there'll be
yeah,
a conversation will keep going.
yep.
I'm like, oh, God. Sorry what you said, and I'm just catching up.
Yeah, you're just catching up. I do that too. I totally do that too.
Like, in fact, I'm not great at hanging out with comedy people because they're so good sometimes at making people. I like to let them be funny.
Yeah.
For the most part, if they're those type of people, I'm like, I'm happy for you to be funny now.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I can quite keep up sometimes.
I think you totally can.
I can, but I also can't sometimes. I just need to sit back and
yeah,
it's
fair
honestly
enough.
like part of being funny. Someone once told me is letting other people be funny.
Honestly, I just love being around it just because I love laughing. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, I like just want to be in it and I just want to laugh. So it's like, that's literally it. I'm like, oh my God, do the funny thing.
Well, people love when people laugh.
Yeah.
So when I did a few guest stars on multicam shows, which are all the canned laughter, not necessarily canned anymore. It's like a live audience laughing.
Oh, how was that?
Like Friends and Seinfeld, things like that. I never did those, but obviously because I'm not that old. But I did shows like that, and it was so much fun. It's actually like the dream life. So you rehearse for 4 days or 3 days, and then you perform it in front of a live audience. It was kind of the best worlds of theater and
Totally,
TV.
yeah.
Multicam, meaning they've got about 4 or 5 cameras shooting you at any one time so they can get every angle. And the writing is like sharp, usually really sharp. It's usually like a joke every second line or every other line is a joke. And what you learn is that there are writers who laugh really loud because they're
Right.
telling people when to laugh.
Right.
But also, if you laugh as an actor because you find it funny, they love it.
Yeah, they do.
They're like, oh my God, thank you.
It's like what? Oh, when
Because you're
SNL, when
showing
you
us
break.
you're showing us when it's good. So
Yeah.
thank you. We need to know.
Yeah.
And you're showing all the network executives who come to the rehearsals and watch, and they go, "Oh, it is funny because look at them laughing." And they're like, so the writers are like, good. So
Yeah.
being a good laugher is it's actually a professional skill.
Oh, I could start a new career. I mean, that's
Totally.
like my favorite thing ever. Like, I'm definitely the person who
Loudly laughs.
who loudly laughs, but Leah, like I think you can change the chemistry in the room. If there's just that one crazy laugher, then everyone feels comfortable just laughing. And then I'm that person, like me and my mom, we're just, I think that we connected over comedy. Did your family connect over comedy at all?
To a degree, like we loved funny. My grandfather was very funny, and my dad had his humor too.
Yeah.
So we loved to laugh. And then we love to laugh at them, like a lot. Me and my brother's favorite thing is just to dig my dad and laugh.
No way.
Yeah.
What's your dad like?
Professionally he's a preacher.
Oh.
But he's an idiot. Yeah, like in the best sense. Like he's a very smart, intelligent person, but he is an idiot as a person. Like just a weird. Your dad. He's just like you're a goose. You're silly.
How do you describe an idiot? Like, what's an idiot to you? Because I know you kind of describe yourself that way as actor idiot. You've changed it, but I kind of, it was kind of fun.
I tried to change it, and then anyway, because I'm more than
You're
those
rebranding.
things. Rebranding and trying to make money from other things.
Yeah,
other
trying to
than
be
being
taken
an
more
actor.
seriously.
I know, it's kind of crazy. We're all rebranding all the time now. Well, I guess an idiot is like somebody who you can like watch and like you ask why they just did the thing that they just did. So my dad's thing, all right, I'll give you an example. My dad's thing was like, he'd crack a bad joke and then he'd go, "Are you with me?" and you'd be like, you'd just not laugh because it's a stupid joke. And he'd go, "Yeah, but are you with me?"
That's really
and
cute.
then you would,
That's sweet.
No, it would go on. It doesn't stop there. That's 2. You go, "Yeah, but are you with me?" You with me?
And then it's
Are you
actually funny, and
are
then
you
we're
with me?
laughing. And
Now
then
we start to laugh.
because it's the power of threes. Comedy
But it's
happens
not
in
even threes.
threes.
It's tens. He goes on and on and on. That's his thing. It's repetitive humor.
That's where you get it from.
Yeah,
You're like,
it is.
after it's
And
like
my
the joke
sons,
doesn't land.
Kids love repetition.
Yeah,
like you just
the
go
repetition.
and go and go, and they just like, so they're like they wait and you go, and they go and then you go, and they go and then they wait and they like looking at your tongue, hoping that you make the sound over and over again, as long as it's in that same rhythm.
Timing. It's the rhythm. It's the timing. Tell me about Hacks, because Hacks was. I mean, I loved you on Hacks. By the way, I loved the character that you played.
I really don't want to complicate people giving me compliments. I've complicated compliments. It's like,
You're like, you just can't accept it. I don't want to be loved, but love me. Don't love me. Love me.
Great work in that. I think what you mean is, I love you. I think what you mean is, what a pest.
I love the character. I love the character you played.
Honestly, I loved getting to do that. At the same time,
it's one of my favorite shows right now.
The show.
You're on the show.
I know.
You got to be on
That's
one
what
of
I'm
my
talking about.
favorite fucking shows.
Thank you. When
got
I do shows like that and people come up to me and go, "Great work on Hacks," I always say like, it's a great show to get, because everyone in
Wants
the
to be on
industry
it.
watches that show. Everyone wants to be on that show.
Yeah.
It's an Emmy Award-winning show.
Yeah.
It's a terrific show. I mean, I don't like, I watched it and was like, "Hey, there's me."
Yeah.
I didn't love what I did or my character or anything like that. I was like, "That's me." But I'm in that fucking show.
How come you, were you self-conscious? Did you?
No, I didn't hate what I did. I just was like, I just did it.
Oh.
It's not really me or anything special about like what I did. It's not really it's kind of like he's the guy. He's like a
He's the
handsome
guy.
guy.
He's
a
the
handsome
it guy.
Hollywood guy.
He's
He's playing the field and he's doing that. It's not really like what I would ever cast myself in order if I wanted to have as much fun as possible.
Yeah.
So much of the time in acting, I'm doing things that are like, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
But it's not really like, I'm not having a huge amount of fun with this character. I'm just going to be the guy. And there are actors who are really, really good at those guys, by the way.
Yeah, the Glenn Powells, right?
Glenn Powell's
the Glenn
are really good.
Powells.
Mate,
You're playing the Glenn Powell character.
if you can play like a guy like that all the
Hey.
time, like I just didn't get into acting to do that. I didn't get into acting to be the guy.
Yeah.
Or to be a, everyman or anything like that. I got into acting
To be an
have
idiot?
fun.
to have fun.
Yeah, to be an idiot and to have
Yeah,
fun. Like,
yeah.
I want to be more than life, not life. I don't want to do coffee shop naturalism. I don't want them to be like, you could walk past them rehearsing and not know that they were rehearsing. You'd think it was a real conversation. I mean, I think things like that are really fun. It's not why I got into the industry. I want to entertain. I don't want to
Make people laugh?
Yeah, make people laugh, but also like, show them what I love about life, show them the enjoyment that I get out of, I want to have fun.
Yeah.
And I hope that they have fun too. That's more important than me having fun, but I also want to have fun.
And I think like the videos that you do, the viral TikToks, like you're having so much fun and I'm having fun with you. Like I literally, I'm laughing. I'm the chirp, chirp. What was that? You just bring it back every once in a while. The terp.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
There was some woman who typed in like she spelled Trump wrong.
Oh, and very good, yes.
You
annihilated her, that poor person.
She loved it though. You roasted the shit out of her, and she loved every second of it.
And she did, other than
she was a champ. She took it on the chin.
Like she wrote to me. So this woman commented one letter every post, and she spelt Trump's name wrong because she was a Trump supporter. And I roasted her, and she wrote to me and said, "That was so funny. I really put myself in that one." And I'm like, "Thank you so much." And I followed her back. Then she wrote to me, and she goes, "I'm getting death threats now. Could you take it down?"
Oh no!
And I was like, "Look,
that took the fun out of it."
No, it didn't. It didn't. And here's why you shouldn't worry about that: is I recently. Today was working with a woman who was the baddie in a Bachelor. You know how the Bachelor has like a really awful woman who just is like super obnoxious. I worked with one of those women today who was the baddie, the villain, and I go, "You're pushed in that direction." She's like, "Totally." And they're looking for somebody who can go in that direction, be really obnoxious, pull him in for a lot of kisses, make sure he kisses you a lot.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm like, well, "Did you want to go down that direction?" She was like, "Look, honestly, I didn't, but I knew that people's attention span would move on. So after 2 weeks, I got so much hate online, including a couple of death threats.
Yeah.
But I knew that after 2 weeks it would go away because people just forget."
Yeah, they do.
And so with her saying that, I was like, "Well, I'm sorry for that, but also it'll be over soon."
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes.
Yeah. No, I don't really believe in the death threats.
I'm also making decisions.
I don't really believe it either.
I shouldn't also be making decisions on behalf of somebody else getting death threats. But I'm just like, I know the reality of this. You're not going to get killed.
Yeah.
No one knows who you are.
No, generally no. I mean, like, when you have like a really crazy, when I think of fan bases of like huge singers and, suddenly they come after you in like a swarm of bees. But it's just like
a swift of bees.
That's right. I am a Swiftie, but I'm not. I don't want to put out hate in the world, but I'm like, this is like all an illusion. Like it's just, you know what I mean?
They're online fuckwits.
Yeah, and I'm just like, you can't. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't know me. You can't really, like, maybe it's because I'm somewhat disagreeable, like the athlete in me that, like I care very deeply. I am very, very compassionate. So on the, agreeable scale, depending on my mood, I had 0 politeness and then I was 94 compassion on the Big 5 scale.
Meaning you're very compassionate.
Yeah, so I'll like bring people, like I've helped people and brought them in my cars, given them makeovers, or I'll literally just help people out all the time. But I
are also disagreeable.
But I'm also disagreeable. So so it's like I don't care generally what people think unless I really, really respect them. So I'm like, I'm going to take your advice because I really value. Authority. I don't really trust. I'm like,
me neither.
This is why we get along.
Me neither. I'm highly disagreeable, but I care about what people think. Oh. So I will. What I'll do is I'll send you a mean DM. No, you'll send me a mean DM and I'll like chew you out.
Sure.
Then I'll delete the message so you never see it. Like I have to go through the grieving process of being disagreeable, but then like I don't want to deal with
and then you kind of feel bad.
Yeah. So I'll write comment. I'll sometimes get into a comment argument. Like my MO online is to always be positive because I know that if I feed the negative, that's not what people come to me for. And also I don't like myself when I'm negative or posting negative things. But every so often I will get into a little argument in the comment section and then I'll be like, okay, no, actually delete all of this because it's just not what I want to be online. But it is because I'm a disagreeable person who cares about what people think.
That's a contradiction.
Really is a contradiction.
That's such a contradiction.
Yeah, but I'm highly disagreeable. Have you done that test?
Yeah, I'm very okay. So I'm the big 5. I am 98% in openness, which is why I'm like great.
Artist.
Like I'm super creative and open to ideas. And it's like 98%. Extroversion, I was 99% of very positive emotion. When my house burned down, I was 78% neurotic. And then I recently took it again and I was only 11.
Wow.
Which is great. Like I've done so much work on myself. So I felt like I got back to my baseline, even though I can. Like it's very funny to have somewhat of a social anxiety where I'm doing a podcast, having to be like, having these long conversations and I'm like having to, but I like to lean in to intimacy and feeling a bit scared or, I like
challenge
to
yourself.
Yeah, totally. And then I think conscientiousness, it was like 80s or 90.
Yeah.
I think there was something else. I forget what up. But
compassion, is that another one? Or that's a different one?
The agreeable is what are the big 5s? You got that, Mark?
I'll look it up right now.
Oh God, Jamie.
Jamie. Hey.
I didn't know you could give us answers, Mark. Thank you.
Whatever you need.
Wow.
Yeah, but the hopefully Michaela Peterson, we've been chatting and hopefully she can get on here.
She's a legend.
She's a legend.
Love her.
She was the first to come on that she was like, yes, I definitely want to meet you. So we're trying to figure out her schedule, and we compared notes and we were like the same person. We had the same personality.
Well, I was actually wondering where I deviate from you because I feel like I'm highly extroverted, highly disagreeable, highly open. And I'm wondering where I deviate from you. But I wouldn't say that I'm highly compassionate. It's not like I'm a cold-hearted beast. I certainly have empathy and
now I took it again and I'm 4% politeness. So it moved up while I moved to New York because I have to be confronted with people all the time. So my politeness of caring of like what people think and being just polite, the social graces just moved up to 4%. What is it?
And then conscientiousness.
Wait, conscientiousness.
Openness to experience, extroversion, agreeableness, neuroticism.
Yeah,
neuroticism. Okay, that was.
So neuroticism and weirdly moving to New York, but like after my house burned down, it was like I was highly neurotic and like it was just volatility. Like
Mark, you have a cat. Are you neurotic?
So no, I'm not.
But you have a cat though.
So I never had cats. And then my girlfriend moves in and brings 2 cats. And I was always allergic, never wanted to have cats. Now I'm the biggest cat dad. And
it's so
sweet. Now I
sweet.
can't imagine life without cats.
I love cats.
I love cats too.
I love cats. They're very beautiful creatures.
Are you a cat person or a dog person?
I'm a dog person.
You're totally a dog person.
I'm a dog person, but I really love cats and the reason that I love cats is the reason that I love women. Is it's a constant battle of attention and affection.
Yeah.
And they'll sometimes out of nowhere they're like, oh, they're cold, and it's like, okay,
yeah, that's
fine. I'm going to try again in 10 minutes. And then that's exactly what I love about my wife. It's like yesterday in the morning, she was like not having me. No, not true. In the morning she was having me, and then mid-morning I was like, oh, okay, we're not.
What happened? How did what you just
you don't
picked
like me
up
anymore?
on? Subtle
and then
nuances?
it was subtle nuances, and then in the afternoon I was like, what's going on? Come on, like let's have fun,
right?
Like, and then she was back around again, and it's an interesting thing, but it's literally like cats.
Do you guys talk out, like, are you very open with each other? Do you tell each other everything? Are you super intimate and do you get not at all?
Not talkative. Like I'd like to communicate more, I suppose. I think that she's all a bit like me in that she doesn't want to communicate that much, but I would still like to be pushed to be communicated with, like as in asked questions in order to give answers. Whereas like because I'm figuring her out, I'm having to open up naturally and so just volunteer information rather than because she may not ask. So if you just take, for instance, like your day-to-day activities, like, oh, what are you doing today? Would be like, okay, that question never comes. And so then I have to go, oh, so today I'm doing this and this and this, because I've got to give you the information that you also need to know. And then from time to time, like I'll say, I have to do this. And she'll go, well, you don't tell me. And I go, I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
And also you don't ask,
She seems more reserved. Like you were
maybe.
both super extroverted, you know. So
we are extroverted, both
yeah.
of us. I'd say me more so than her. I love to be around people, and so does she. I just think that she's in some ways like there's a masculinity to her. She's not openly communicative as maybe general women can be.
Yeah.
Like where they're like pushing for communication with their man and he's not giving
we're
it.
super feminine. Like, why are you not talking to me? I want to talk about my feelings. That was my last relationship. He's like, I can't talk about it anymore.
Yes.
But he was, you know, he's English and he was Canadian, so it was
Well,
sort
have
of,
you looked into Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus?
Yes.
That guy
Yeah.
and how he talks about how like when women talk about their feelings, their estrogen goes up, which means their positive feelings go up. And then when men talk about their feelings, their estrogen goes up too, their testosterone goes down. And they're like, it makes them more stressed.
Wow.
Yes.
My mind is being fucking blown.
So what he
they're not
wants-
in there. They want to hunt and
They want to be in their
their
zone,
masculine,
in
yeah.
a masculine, like
Presence.
he encourages men to have like a little zone that they can go to, a hobby that they can go and be with and like clear their mind to enjoy. And he also encourages like that when it's time to communicate about everything that needs to get done, like around the house and things like that, that the woman simply goes, 5, I need it. And they're like, okay, good. So we got 5 minutes now. Let's do it. Let's do it all.
Yeah, let's
Rather
deal
than
with that.
little
Yeah.
bits and bobs around the house all the time. We go 5 minutes right now. Let's talk about everything that needs to be talked about. Like at once. So it's like a dedicated time of communication rather than this, I hope we'll get to it later. It's like, no, right now. And we're going to do it now. And
love
so,
that.
yeah, I liked it too.
Have you read the book The Way of the Superior Man? I feel like you might have. By David
I wanna be
Data.
superior. I haven't read that.
It's kind of similarly, but it's like talking about the masculine and the feminine, and it has all these just different ways of looking at things. You looking that up?
Yeah.
I haven't read it in a minute, but it's sort of like Aubrey Marcus talks about it, and
Okay.
it's like just being in your masculine and kind of the things that we were talking about of like, God, what are there bullet points? It's been a minute. I figured like that'd be
The
something
Way of the
that,
Superior Man. I've never heard of that. I would remember that title.
but just understanding the masculine and kind of similarly like what you were talking about of, oh, there we go. The Way of the Superior Man. Yeah, a spiritual guide.
Go to the Reddit.
Yeah, let's do Reddit. Oh, yeah.
As a man, This is some
yeah,
of the
young
worst and
women.
most disgusting garbage I've ever laid eyes on in my life. Young women offer you a special energy. In general, youth in a woman bespeaks radiant, unobstructed, and refreshing feminine energy. A young woman tends to be less compromised by masculine layers of functional protection built up over years of need.
I think that's true, though.
Traditionally, young women were understood to offer a man particular rejuvenative quality of energy. Older women may maintain or even increase the freshness and radiance of their energy.
Basically,
but
it's
rare.
learning to set boundaries for this. So this is the chapter of setting boundaries, I think, of
Okay.
like it appreciating, enjoying it, you know, kind of what you were saying. But then there's sort of these like boundaries of just like you don't have to repress that part of you, or, you know, it's like acknowledge, you know, beautiful woman, young woman, but then also just be like, okay, like that's okay. Like we don't have to indulge in this,
Right.
you know?
Interesting. I can see why somebody would be offended. by that, actually. But I find that youthfulness in any way is beautiful, and so like
Yeah.
saying so is offensive, but it's true. I mean, and saying it about women, I think, is what's particularly offensive. Why people would be
yeah.
offended to that.
Well, this was before
by
Me
that, but-
Too, so it's like sort of like, oh, you know,
Like, you know, younger women can be particularly rejuvenative. It's like, yes, that's true. You know, how would you word that now?
yeah, it's a little bit taboo now.
Well, you just say like, you know, women can be rejuvenative. Youth is very good. If I was to try and make it not offensive, women can be very rejuvenative. Young is good. Young
is good.
Someone said to me yesterday, like they're going back to Australia because their parents aren't getting any younger. They said that to me, and I immediately just go like, no one is getting younger.
Yeah,
What's that saying?
yeah.
They're not getting any younger. It's like, yeah. What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah,
No one's getting younger. Everyone is going in one direction.
sure.
how are you going to deal with like age and aging and things like that? I mean, it's really difficult, like as you get older, dealing with the fact that I'm not going to be hot soon or as hot as I was. My body is breaking down in many ways.
Men age like a fine wine.
like that?
You know what I'm saying?
You
Like,
like that?
Brad Pitt, George Clooney, like
Well,
holy
yeah.
shit, high.
Sure. And then you, I mean, as a woman, you must feel this. Do you feel this stress?
You know, it's weird. I think I'm an old soul. I haven't done any Botox. I have a scar in my lips, so I kind of filled that in, and it was like 9 stitches.
Okay.
But I like my face being expressive. It scares me to not feel. You know,
To not be able to show your feeling in your face.
but also like to not feel like disassociative, like
Okay.
things like scare the shit out of me.
Okay.
Because I think we're
You don't want to be
supposed
numbed.
I don't want to be numbed.
Yeah. Which
don't
is kind of how you feel about Botox.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So I'm trying to, I want to find other, things. I've done maybe 1 or 2 facials. I've been using a lot of La Mer cream.
Oh, yeah.
For
You're allowed to do facials.
Yeah.
You shouldn't think of facials anything like
I
Botox.
tried, but then it kind of like, I don't know. I don't have a good reaction to it. Like my face
okay.
gets red. And
Interesting.
I'm like,
I mean, whatever you're doing, it's good.
but you know what?
working.
I kind of look at it that every time I'm like, there was a moment I think after COVID where I was like, what the fuck? My hair? What is it falling out? Like I was like, and there was sort of this lesson that I felt of, it was sort of weirdly freeing that I'm like, this is, I'm not my body. I'm not, I think we're more than that. We're just this, spirit, soul existing in this meat suit,
Yes.
whatever it is, sort of, and we get to experience life and human consciousness. So I'm like, well, I want to go places like on every level. I think if you're doing life right, you'll find like more value if you lean into getting old, if you lean into like, I'm still like going to be like a young spirit, like who's vivacious and, I don't know, like probably smoking weed when I'm like 80, I don't know, just like, working out and
Sprightly
dancing
and
and
joyful
laughing and
yeah.
full of joy. Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
But I think like also, I think it was really interesting when I saw my mom's dead body. Yeah, recently, it was like 8 months ago, and I wanted to just sort of have this final moment. And it's always like kind of weird seeing your parents in a coffin, and you're always like, this is no longer, both my parents are dead. So like the first time I saw my dad, I was like, it was too much. I was 24, and I was like, oh, he doesn't even look like him. Like he was this meat suit, and now this meat suit, you're like, this looks nothing like you anymore. Like it's gone. That spirit is gone.
Yes.
And so seeing my mom like lifting that up and being like, she looks like just a little old man. Like what? Like I was like, they put like she loved her, wearing like a tennis hat. So we dressed her in, Lululemon and a tennis hat. That's so it's just like, that was her emoji. So we're like, all right,
What was her emoji? The tennis hat.
the tennis hat.
Wow.
She had a tennis hat with her Lululemon. She was a force of nature. And I feel like it was really interesting to see that. I was like, man, you wore that body like, damn. Like she was a force. Like suddenly it was like there was nothing. It was suddenly didn't look like her. And I was like, it was a really interesting concept that the spirit that lived in that body embodied it and made it beautiful. So I really I think it's like your spirit and your being, and so it's like, obviously vitality and having your hair grow and your nails and being, all those things that, young and fertile and like, that's like in terms of like mating and.
Yeah. I went to a morgue once. My friend owned some mortuaries, him and his family, up in Oregon. And I went into a cold, like the fridge where they keep all the bodies. And maybe it was around like 30 bodies, 40
Did you smell
bodies.
the smell of death?
It was all cold, so there was a smell, but not crazy.
Okay.
But I looked everybody in the eye, like not their eye. Just look at them. I was looking at them. I was like, no one looks human.
Yeah. No.
Every one of these is a porcelain body.
Yeah.
They're not real.
Yeah.
They haven't really been human. Like something has exited, and whatever exited is what is us.
Yeah.
Like exactly what you're saying. And that was a really big moment for me too. And really, like, it's what the soul is.
Yeah.
What I think of as the soul is the thing that is whatever exited them.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe Rogan, he was talking about his grandfather he was really close to, and he had the similar story, and he had a guest on, and he was literally describing my exact same experience that I had when I first saw dead bodies when I was, when our teacher decided to take us to the morgue when we were like 15 and be like, here's the human body.
Good teacher.
It was so wild. No one was going in that room but me being, super high in openness. And, I'm like, and all the, like maybe there's like a few guys who are like, oh, I'm going like, and the smell of death.
Oh my God.
Is so, you can't get it off of you. You literally can't stop smelling it for like 3 days after, and you're kind of slightly traumatized. And there was a guy who had a noose around his neck, and you're kind of seeing all the ways in which people died. And there's this like guy who's like 300 pounds, 400 pounds or something. And you're like,
How did he die?
And then heart attack, I'm assuming. And then, the other guy with a noose around his neck who just looked tortured. Like you're just like, and his hair was crazy, and it was just, and you see like, wow, like you don't see, it was very old people, and you could, their brain was literally deteriorating. So I got to hold a human brain and human heart in my hand. God. And it was, so I went in, but I was like slightly traumatized, but it was really interesting to kind of see that. I was like, where does the energy go? Where did it go?
Yeah.
And that was like the most fascinating thing. And it kind of changed my viewpoint. And then I remember, going back, like thinking about it, like at school and pondering, like energy cannot be created or destroyed, because we were like, discovering that. And then I was like, putting those, and I feel like we've heard that over and over in just the zeitgeist.
You forget about it now because it's just so normal. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Is that what it was?
Yeah, energy, right? E = mc squared. Is that energy cannot be created or destroyed?
I've never known that.
Me either.
So I guess it's like, physics or...
No, two actors trying to figure out physics.
Totally. Where does the speed of light come in?
We're too dumb for this. We're too dumb for this.
What is it real quick?
I don't want to talk about this. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so tell me about how did you meet your wife and how did that all unfold?
Cool question. You know how you talk about Raya?
Yeah.
So I download Raya. I just kind of come up in the world. I booked a big guest star on Sabrina, and then people started to follow me out of nowhere. And
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yeah, so I booked that show, and it was kind of like
on Netflix, not the old one, the new one.
It was The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. It was called, and it was kind of like my life had turned a corner. Like I always would describe it as I'd gotten to the bottom of a different ladder. I'd done a really big guest star that people were like, young people were obsessed with, and so young people, when they watch a show that they like, they follow the people on that show on Instagram and things like that. So my following had gone, and I was creating so much content that was like stupid and funny, and all of a sudden I had a following.
Right.
I was like, oh, this is great. And so I started to make money, and I was like, and I've been unemployed actor for 10 years and not booked anything. And so then I booked something, and then I was like, found myself in Los Angeles, all of a sudden, somewhat of a success. And I was like, oh, I should go on Raya. I think my friend is on Raya. He can help me get one. He's like, yeah, I'll get you one. He got me got me an account. I looked into it. I was like, oh my God, these beautiful women. I'd never seen a dating site like it. And I found one person, and we were chatting away, and she was super attractive, and she was like, we were chatting, and I'd seen my wife online. Her best friend used to come to my workout class. I'd seen Cara online, and I was like, who is that woman? And messaged her best friend and was like, who the hell is that?
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, she's coming out of a relationship, like not a good time. Anyway, so I'm talking to this woman, and she's like, you should fly to where I am shooting a movie, and let's, have a weekend. And I'm like, as a single man, I'm like, totally. Like, I should absolutely do that.
And where was this? Where are you going to fly to?
It was like in New Orleans.
Okay.
And I was like, great.
Ooh,
are you kidding? I'll totally go there.
Yeah.
Tropical, j'adore. And then I was with my roommate who knew Cara, who I did not know. They'd known each other from like years previous.
Oh my God.
And I was like, mate, I'm talking to this very beautiful woman who's invited me across the country for a weekend. Like, I don't want to go. I can't stop thinking about this woman, Cara.
Yeah.
I cannot stop thinking about her. He's like, what are you talking about? I go, I don't know. What am I doing? Like, I've all of a sudden I'm on Raya. I have a Raya account. Now I've met somebody through Raya who's invited me. I'm like, I should go. I don't want to. I can't stop thinking about this person.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh my gosh. So I like kind of take a day to think about it. I go to this party that night. The next day I'm so hungover, like dreadfully hungover. It was like a big one. And I get a DM from Cara saying, my friend says I should take you on a date.
Right.
I'd always looked at I'd seen Cara's Instagram. I was like, I wanted to DM her, but I was like, I don't want to meet somebody through that. I don't want to DM.
You slid into her DMs.
I don't know. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. She slid into mine.
Oh.
Then.
So you were very happy. You manifested that.
Yes.
You believe in manifesting?
It was crazy. And then I was like, yes, that's what I want. I had to tell the woman, like, I'm not coming to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Very kind.
Yeah.
Then the day of the date, which was that Thursday coming, which I was so excited about, I shot a music video for this woman who is really beautiful. I don't want to be rude, but she's got the biggest boobs in the world in a really good way.
Right. Great.
Okay. So like, I'm like, I know that she's pulled me into this music video because she liked me from Sabrina because she thought I was hot and she probably wants to get with me. But I have a date with somebody that I cannot stop thinking about tonight.
Wow.
And I went through the whole day kind of like, oh my God, like I know that you want me. And I kind of like, I'm like, I don't know what to do about you. You're so beautiful. But I was like,
with these big boobs.
I know. And so they were like, can we shoot? We're going late. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And,
good for you.
And I was like, no, I'm not going late. And they're like, well, but I'm like, yeah, sorry, I got to go.
I got to go see a
I
bad
left
girl.
early.
You did the Matt Damon.
Went
You
to the
did
date. Bam. It was her without question, like
You knew.
immediately.
You knew.
Yeah, I knew. It
Do you
was
think
really crazy.
There's some like past life. Do you believe in past life stuff?
I don't
or any of
know.
that
I don't
stuff?
think so.
No.
I don't know though.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I don't know what it was. It was just like undoubtedly I just couldn't get this woman out of my head.
And you
then,
only knew her just from Raya and from pictures.
I didn't know Cara from Raya. I only knew Cara from pictures on Instagram.
On Instagram. Wow.
Yeah.
And then
Then we get to the date. She's not American. I thought she was. She's Australian. I'm like, I am too. She goes, where are you from? I go, I'm Sydney. She's like, I am too. I go, yeah, from where? She goes, Burwood. I'm like, I'm from Burwood. I go, what street? She says the street, the same street.
that is not fucking possible.
Yes.
Like that is insane.
We had never we'd never met.
That's a crazy love story,
Crazy.
Luke. Oh
We met
my
in LA.
God.
And we're both from the same street on Sydney. This
How far
shitty little
apart did
suburb.
you guys live?
Like a mile?
Lived a mile away.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Madness. Like I don't even see, I tell people that story and I'm like, that isn't what's necessary for a good romance, by the way. It's just wild.
No, I think actually those things kind of line up though.
I do too. I think
Yeah.
it's like there's some meaning behind it.
something, yeah.
But then when you talk to anybody who's been through any relationship where they've had to go, we really had to figure it out.
Did you have to
At the
really figure
beginning.
it out at
No.
the beginning? No, so you didn't.
We
have
got to enjoy it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then, I mean, it was also, I'd never had panic attacks before until I started dating her.
What?
Yeah, I started having panic attacks.
Why?
Because I was so worried that, it's been a while since I've told this story. So I was so anxious about us not being together. It was really crazy. About maybe her seeing a part of me that she didn't like. She'd come out of a relationship that wasn't
Intimacy's
great.
scary.
It is
Yeah.
scary. She'd
You have
come
to
out
show all
of a
yourself.
relationship that wasn't great with a guy who wasn't great, and he was a jealous man. It was like not very nice to her, and I was like, but I can also be jealous. So are you going to be horrified by that side of me?
Oh.
It was essentially like if I showed her my true self on all the parts of it, she wouldn't want to be with me, which like made me panic. And I'd never had panic attacks before. I didn't even know what it was. And you eventually figure out like you think you're about to die. That's what a panic attack is.
That's what it feels like. I've had a few. I've had a few.
You really obviously aren't going to die. You're in your car in Los Angeles.
That's where I have. That's where I had. Yes.
Yeah, it's okay.
You
You're not
literally
gonna die.
like the
Yeah.
feeling. Like you're like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna faint. Everything like basically you're disassociating, and you're like, I don't want to be here.
Yes, it was crazy. It was a really, really odd maybe few days that it happened. And then I went to a therapist and I immediately sat down and broke down.
Yeah.
I'd never been to a
You just
therapist
need to
before.
cry. Sometimes you just have to cry it out.
Cried, and then he just gave me all these tools for how to deal with it. Like he's like, focus on your out breath.
Yeah, the breathing.
And put your head below your heart, you know, because we're mammals. So we want to put our heads below our hearts, which slows down our heart rate, which is exactly what whales and dolphins do.
Wow.
They dip down. Like when you have a panic attack in a hospital, they put your head below your heart.
Yeah, that's true.
So I just learned all those things and also then dealt with the fact that like I want this person to see all of me. And if they want to be with me, then great. And if they don't, well, that's life too. But you have to go through it.
You have to go through
show
it.
them these parts of you.
You do.
I remember like coming home and telling her all this stuff, and she just said the most Aussie beautiful thing ever. Like I told her all the things that I'm scared of, and she just goes, "You idiot." You know,
That's perfect.
Yeah.
You loved it.
which
You're
is
like,
exactly what I was.
Yeah.
Like I was being an idiot. It's funny that all those things happen at the same time. Like you never had a panic attack in your life, and you start getting them when you meet the love of your life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful, vulnerable share because it's like I feel like with my girlfriends, we tend to share those things. And so we know. And so it's like, you know, men tend to, like the masculine energy just holds their cards very close to their chest. So it's like you never really know. You're like, what's going on? You know, you can kind of feel and, you know, intuit and especially like as actors and feelers, we can like feel everything, you know, at like all times. But like sometimes it's like you don't always get that validating of like, oh, you feel scared too. Like I'm not the only one who has fear and like, oh, like.
I think with men and dating, I always tell my wife's friends or female friends, I always say like, if you're getting maybe vibes, it's a no.
If it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no. That's how that's my motto.
And I know that because that was me.
Yeah.
I was maybeing people, but it was knowing, but it was no.
Yeah, it was no.
Like it was maybeing to be polite, but it was just no.
And it's funny because there's so many like great people out there and you're like, you're just a great person. Like you're awesome, but we're just, you know, it's like, oh, we're just not a fit. Like there's some guys that I was dating who are just wonderful, but I think compatibility and values were just a little bit different and the things that just how we view the world was just too different. I'm like, I'm too eccentric for you. I'm too much of an artist. You're into, I don't know.
Money and making it.
Yeah, like, I don't know. So I'm just like, I'm going to be too much of a wild card. Like, cause I'm like fully so myself and I don't want to have to, like you want to change yourself for the better, but you don't want to have to start altering and being like, I'm going to fit into this thing that you want me to be. And
True.
like,
which is natural. Like, you know, it's like, especially if you're enigmatic or, you know, you're anything like that, you can shapeshift. It's very hard to like not start playing a character in order to make somebody happy, of which they'll see through it eventually and be like, oh my God, no, you were pretending to be something that you weren't. And then, like you said, there's a big difference between that and just bettering yourself and becoming better, which usually happens in a relationship. Like, it's like you need to figure out that you need to be better.
Yeah.
That's what we need to lift each other up and encourage each other to do that. I think it's interesting, though, that like what we were talking about with the Bumble thing is that, you know, the 7% of the guys who do get all the attention have psychopathic tendencies because they have all of the attention.
Yeah.
And that they don't want to settle down. They're like, why would I settle down when I can just have sex with all of these women?
I can spread my seed to everyone.
Which encourages the psychopathic, you know, mentality.
And then I can discard them later and then there's no repercussions. And there will be like, you know.
Because all's fair when you're single. Like in a way, like it's like if we're single and we have sex and there's been no prior commitment, there is no commitment, technically.
Yeah, but the thing is,
The truth, not technically.
Yeah.
Obviously, the truth is you just shared your body with somebody, which is incredibly intimate.
Oh my God. I haven't slept with many people because of that reason, because it's so, I've done other things, but like in terms of the actual in terms of the sex, it's only in the safety of, like, it's only in a relationship where it's like, we're really exploring this to see if we're mating for life.
Sure.
You know? And because.
Like pigeons.
Yeah. Or penguins.
Sure.
Like penguins.
Are pigeons, pigeons, I'm right about
Swans?
that.
Wait, can we look that up? We
can.
Which
What are the
species
monogamous
of birds?
Are monogamous for life.
Penguins definitely are.
Penguins.
Oh, they love it.
Yeah.
They love it. Yes, but within a relationship, that's when it's the best.
Yeah. Honestly, when you have, like, I've had experiences where mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, you're basically like having a communion with God. You can't go back. And especially when you're just madly in love with the person, then you're just like, I can't.
You can't go back. And sometimes
casual
they
sex?
ask you.
No way.
Oh, no. Oh, I was saying, despite those experiences that you can have with somebody outside of your relationship, where the sex is like communing with God, right? And that happens.
Oh, so
And
you
then
have had those experiences.
Well, it can happen. It's very rare.
It is very
and
rare.
it's also like about the spirit of the two people, if they can come together and be like, I'm so open to what happens now.
Yeah.
No preconceived notions, no preconceived poses and movements. I'm going to flow with you, and we flow.
So it's like a muse kind of like, experience.
And then it's like, it's like an hour goes by, and then you're like, that was incredible. I do not love you.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, so you've just had incredible sexual experience with somebody that does not love you.
Yeah.
And that you don't love either, really.
Sure.
But so they'll just walk away from that.
Yeah.
And as is like kind of their right, technically speaking.
Yeah.
Like it's like, we did not agree to anything. This is not other than the fact that I just committed my body to you.
Yeah.
We didn't technically say that we were committing to each other. So I can walk away from this and be okay.
I think men haven't, we release oxytocin. So then we have this like, oh, babies, like, it's sort of this
we
like
both release
bonding.
oxytocin, but women
Oh yeah, but
more.
we produce more.
If a woman orgasms, it's like a huge production of oxytocin. And men do that too. Like we get pillow talky after we can, when we produce oxytocin, and we could say things that we don't mean accidentally. Like, what did I just?
Has that
did I just say I
happened?
love
Really?
you?
Oh no! And then do you have
actually say that.
what is it? Post nut regret or
Post nut regret or the
post nut
It
changing
is-
your mind?
No, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's actually the truth. You should.
How does that work?
It's the truth.
for
it's awful.
women to understand. Wait, and the penguins.
Also, penguins and pigeons generally monogamous and
Swans? Is it swans?
mate for life. They will accept another mate if their partner dies.
Oh wow.
That's pigeons, but I'm pretty sure penguins is the same thing.
Meow.
Wow, I'd never fuck a pigeon.
Never again.
So crazy.
That'd be really hard.
Yeah, the post nut clarity is what it's called.
Post nut clarity.
I mean,
what
that's
it
super
is.
interesting. I always thought that that's the truth. This may be TMI.
No,
Just
listen.
thinking about that
I've
terrible
talked about my
podcast I've done
period.
before.
I've talked about
When
everything.
I used to. This is so crazy.
I talked about my trauma. You just
I appreciate.
yeah.
You talk the Harvey Weinstein story. I'll
No,
tell you
that
the
wasn't
story.
even my trauma. That was a mild.
When I was a teenager, when I used to masturbate a lot when I was a young man, I would think about having sex with a certain person,
right.
and the post nut clarity would tell me,
If you really are into them or not.
yes,
You know what? I feel that too.
really,
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah. So I can feel, I'm like, oh, I mean, I think that works for women too. I do. Yeah. I can feel this,
Interesting.
like there's this astral plane connection where it's like, if I can feel the other person and I can feel it like, oh my God, like I can suddenly feel this overwhelming feeling of like, oh wow, they're really into me. And I can feel it, you know? And if the sex is good, like in my mind, then it somehow like translates. Yeah.
Interesting. I think it's true. I mean, I think it's a much easier, honest way of dealing with things if maybe you didn't have to have sex with somebody. Maybe have a wank over them and then figure it out.
And figure it out.
Because don't do it to really try not to do it to people.
Yeah.
Because it's really awful.
I have a theory here for you too for post nut clarity. So one of the theories is when you're done orgasming, the blood rushes back to your prefrontal cortex.
Oh,
Start
there
thinking
it
again.
is.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. That's so cool. I mean, awful, but so cool. Like, and also, who is the person that I've been dealing with for the last few hours?
So
you've
it was
had
just a
sex with them.
projection, or it was a fantasy.
So this person who has now started to think and act like themselves again after ejaculating, now I'm dealing with them. Who is that person?
Did you just concoct this whole fantasy? Was it sort of this like projection, or was it
Or
like
was
with
he a
your-
fantasy projection of like what he thinks you want? So I'm going to give you what you want and be the person that you want so that I can have sex with you.
Women wear makeup, right? So women wear makeup, and men will
men
say
act
anything.
like-
Will say
yeah.
anything to get you in bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the two lies that we tell ourselves. or the
Yeah. I
right?
always thought that it was a great honesty to tell somebody you're not interested in a relationship so that you can like have sex with them.
Yeah, but
it's
still
not honesty.
It's not honest.
Because again,
You could just say,
your body
"Hey."
is lying when you have sex with them. You're saying, I want to see nothing on you and be with you in that moment. We're
Yeah.
both open and vulnerable together and
Yeah.
connect body and soul.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No, you don't want to do that.
I'm mentioning Jordan Peterson again, but he had a really great thought where, and I kind of agree with it, where you can't separate sex from spirituality, from emotional life. And you could think you can, but like the amount of times that you can't, it's not this separate thing. Like it's it fully integrated into our lives and all the parts of us. And so to just do this, he was also saying if you can't talk about like the sexual act, but you can do it, like that's also a problem. That if you can't even talk about it, like I feel, one night stands or whatever. And it's an interesting concept because I think men can do that a little bit better and compartmentalize. But I mean, that's why
No, but
it's
they
like,
can't though, because the post-nut clarity is the truth. Like they wake up to themselves and then they're, if they were to really consider what they're feeling at that moment, it's shame.
yeah.
They can't escape it. They feel ashamed. They're like, oh my God, I just did that. Even though I know that I don't like to do this.
And then maybe like, the girl, like she's really into it and, and then they're like, oh no. And
I
now
have to deal with that.
But now because
here.
and now it's, it's not just like having a make out. It's like fully like we did the damn thing. Like there could be a baby on the way. There could be some STDs that are shared. Like
Sure,
it is not, sex is not for the faint of heart. So it's like there's a real, and then there's like kind of this like bonding thing where I feel like you enmesh your souls together. And then when it's not in the container of what I think like a really, beautiful relationship or like marriage or, I'm not saying you have to wait till you're, married, but I think it says in the Bible that you're supposed to wait because it leaves scars. Like every time that you have casual sex. And I think what was interesting that Jordan had said is you continue to tell yourself that you're a casual person and that you're like taking your life not seriously, or that you're like, that you're, you're not a serious person and that you're taking yourself very casually in other people's lives. So then there's like not the weight of that because it is like it's an intense thing. Like, and I think you also get like people's superpowers and also their traumas where it's like, suddenly, you can have sex with someone and then I'm suddenly with like an amazing artist and then I'm like, oh my God, I'm writing and it, like all this, but then also you're like, wait, where is all this trauma? Like this isn't mine. Like, so I think there's this like a meshing that happens, like, especially if you're like high in openness. So then you're receiving all these downloads. And so it's not, if you're not as open, then it's like maybe you can, have a better time with it and you'd be less problematic, but I
always
now you don't have to worry about it because you're married.
so good.
It's
no, honestly, that's where I was going to go with this next story. I knew a woman I once broke her heart. We never had sex. I just broke her heart because I ended up dating her best friend, but I didn't date her, and she really thought that we were going to. But I didn't betray her. I never promised myself or anything, and I didn't have sex with her. So it was like not a really.
You didn't
deal.
make any promises.
Exactly. Anyway, she wrote a story about me, and she sent it to me. It was very open of her, but she was like that. And she wrote that she felt like when she got to fall in love with somebody, she took a part of their soul that stayed with her forever. But I actually think the reverse is true in regards to casual sex, that you actually give a part of your soul to somebody else.
No, for real.
And then it goes, right? You like lose a little bit of it. So when I was before I'd met Cara and I was having casual sex with people, I would, in my darkness, I'd think I'm losing part of my soul when I do this.
Wow.
Like it's taking something from me. Like scars, like you just said, like little scars. But then what I noticed was when I got with Cara was that we made eye contact when we made love.
Hot. Yeah.
And then and that I noticed that because I was not making eye contact actively previous with people I was casually having sex with.
Was it because you didn't feel safe enough?
Didn't
or
feel safe, didn't want to.
Yeah.
Didn't want to create the environment where we were open and vulnerable with each other, really. Like, we're just naked, but we weren't emotionally naked.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, eye contact is. It's like, this right here is yours.
Yeah.
All of it, eyes in, soul, brain, body.
Yeah.
Casual sex is just body. So it's just like, you can look, you look anywhere.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so funny was the energy it takes to create a relationship is the energy it is similar to the amount of energy it takes to make sure that we don't have one.
Wow.
You know?
And how, like in those intimate moments when you were scared that, you know, she's like, oh, she's going to see this, that I get jealous, or that, how do you get jealous? Or what other things were you worried about? Like sometimes my neuroses, it's like, oh, you're going to see this. And I'm a high functioning hoarder with all these like, you know, Aviator Nation, you know, and now I just lean into it of just, it's me. I like Aviator Nation. It was a problem during the pandemic. This is what dysfunction looks like.
What's
but it's
Aviator Nation?
It's their sweatpants suits here. Do you want to bring that up, Mark? I mean, they're great. They're really colorful. They're really fun.
Okay.
I mean, but it was like, they're so
It's
fun.
like a Connecticut thing.
I don't know. You know, you've seen those. Yeah, they're like fun and cute, and you feel like stylish
I'm
when
glad
you're.
that you like that.
You know, they're
That's cute.
they're vibrant, and I like being comfortable. I think it's like my inner child like loved just being comfortable in sweatpants.
Yeah.
I feel like being semi like neurodivergent or just being hypersensitive to everything. Like having like a superpower. Like I just like it was
like
like
to feel
slightly
comfortable.
autistic. It was like tags would bother me.
Yes.
Right? Did you have that too?
I don't, but I know people who are that highly sensitive
Highly
with their
sensitive.
skin, so that they hate tags and they like, you know, things that feel good on their skin, and I understand
Same.
that.
I've kind of grown out of that, but I think that's the part that like remained. But
aviation is good feeling, is it? You should have them sponsor the podcast.
I know.
Aviation
Hopefully
Nation.
that's what I'm saying.
5% off.
So wait, your jealousy. So what
What were the other things that? Yeah, what were the other things I was kind of scared of showing?
Yeah.
I guess you're just general humanity that.
Your insecurities.
You're insecure and you're shit sometimes, and you're moody and.
Are you moody? You don't
Yeah.
strike me as moody.
No, I'm moody. It's my one main focus in life is to be less moody.
Oh.
Yeah, it's something that I always knew was like, okay, this is a problem. I have to deal with this.
How does it manifest itself?
Oh, just like
Do you just get annoyed?
Swings.
You
Yeah,
get annoyed.
moods,
You get irritable with
irritated.
food. Is it food related?
Yeah, in my head it definitely is.
Yeah.
So I worked very hard to make sure I don't get into the mood, and that can be diet related, environment related.
Like environment how?
So I don't wear pants. Like if I,
He's not wearing them now.
I wear slacks like these to be polite, but I mean I would be open to wearing. If we knew each other better, I'd wear shorts.
Oh,
because
why
I don't
didn't
want to
you?
be hot.
Oh, we
It's
should have done
it's
that.
fine. I mean, I'm
Aw.
in linen slacks and it's October.
Honestly,
it's September. It's fine.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's not a huge issue. I
Yeah.
know that if I get too hot, I will get irritated.
I do too.
if
I
I
have to have
too
it
much
cold. Do you have to have it cold?
caffeine, irritated. If I have glucose, like glucose spikes are like scientifically found to give you mood swings.
Wow.
So like because
no
the
sugar.
glucose goes up. No sugar. Just when you consume sugar, you can consume it in a careful way. Not so I'll never have refined sugar basically. Like maybe once a week, maybe like a
so
cake or
fruit?
some shit.
I brought fruit.
Always
earlier.
fruit.
Oh, I have
Fruit's
lots of fruit.
fantastic. Love
Because
fruit.
I listen to your podcast, so I know
There
you
you
like
go.
the fruit at the crafty
The
table.
reason that you're not going to get the boop
Yeah.
is because of the fiber within the fruit. So the glucose spike comes from straight sugar, and if you have it immediately without eating anything prior.
Oh yeah, that's terrible.
So if you were to, eat a, muesli bar or whatever,
Yeah.
granola bar, whatever
Yeah,
they call
that's
them.
terrible.
Without anything else, it's like big spike,
Yeah.
right? So you want to avoid that by either having protein and fat or a high fiber vegetable before you have any like sugar or refined carbohydrates. That's the ideal way to avoid that boop.
Yeah.
That'll make you make me anyway, a big pissy pussy. So I avoid that at all costs. So just understanding your environment and also being the person that you, and getting things done that you, and not procrastinating so that you are the person that you hope to be, so that you
Yeah.
can't go, oh, I'm frustrated because I didn't get it done.
Yeah.
So all the things that I can control, I really do control so that I
Yeah.
can't get angry with myself. And if I do get upset, it's because, okay, like if I do get moody, it's because, okay, something really threw me off. Like it was terrible traffic. And then the other person didn't show up anyway. And I'd gone through traffic and no one was there. You know what I mean? Something like that. So it's never, if it was in my control, that's handled.
Yeah. Your side of the street is clean. You're pretty like an aware person, I've noticed. Like you're very like aware of you and like who you are in the world. And, you know, I think that's
could
like.
be that mood swings are no longer my big issue.
Oh.
Like just thinking about it now, becoming a dad.
Doesn't seem like it. Yeah.
Like it's pretty generally good. Like sometimes I'll have I think it's just like regular though, but I used to be up and down.
Yeah. My best friend, she can sometimes get angry and she has, I'm kind of like the godmother or like, I was there for their home birth and I had to like film it. Didn't you have a home birth?
Yes.
Oh my God. How was that?
It?
Yeah. Like, well, it was sort of just like we're there and there was, so it was me and her other best friend. And we were just like chanting, like the minute that she would have contractions. So I flew there and it was actually almost around my birthday. Weirdly, her daughter's birthday is the same day my mom died.
Oh, wow.
Which is why, like
So
her birthday. So not actually the day she was born. This was last year. So they
Okay, I understand. Yes.
which is, I mean, that's a weird full circle of
and that you were
life.
there is fascinating.
Life and death. And so I was there. So she had a home birth and every time like there would be like, she'd do contractions and she would do all these breathing, like she would do woo, and it would be kind of like this chanting. And so then me and the best friend at like 6 a.m. or like 3 a.m, we would wake up and be like the witches or whatever, be like, ooh, and doing this whole chanting, like ayahuasca without ayahuasca. I've never done ayahuasca, but I imagine that's what I feel like it felt like. And so, you know, and her husband, Bob's, who's also one of my best friends, they're both my best friends. I introduced them and so we're there and he's just like, he's throwing up because he's so like, he was having like she was throwing up and then he was throwing up at sympathy, you know, contractions or something. Did you experience that?
No. Sympathy contractions
or like sympathy throwing up like
what?
Of her going through something and we all experienced it. So when it was finally happening and there was the midwife and there was this
Pool?
A pool, but there was also this like it looked like a walker.
So like handles for her.
Yeah,
was
handles.
It?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that she had something to grip
yeah.
onto.
And so yeah. And so then as it was happening, her mom was just like, Susie, here. And I was like, oh, okay, we're doing it. All right, we're doing it.
And you were
I was
on
filming.
the phone?
I have it.
Wow.
I have it. Yeah,
Wow.
we did it. I was like, it was one of the best moments of my entire life, and it wasn't even like. It wasn't even my experience, but I felt so honored to be there in one of the most sacred ceremonies of all time.
Yeah.
Tell me about how was that experience for you to show up for her in that way?
I mean, it was amazing. It was really stressful.
And how long did it
to be
last?
honest. It was, I think, it was an all-nighter.
Oh, wow.
So it was like 12 hours of a labor, I think. So that's when the contractions started. I was there the entire time with Cara, and there were different moments. You know, in 12 hours, there's obviously going to be different moments. There's moments when contractions aren't coming too often, and we're listening to cigarettes after sex, like nice, relaxing music,
love
and
cigarettes after
enjoying
sex.
Time together, kissing, really like opening up the oxytocin in order to because oxytocin
that's
also
so
helps the baby
beautiful.
come. And,
Yeah. It's like, it's safe. It's safe to come out. It's
Yes.
a safe place.
But then it was really painful for her.
Yeah.
And so, I was squeezing hips as she was contracting, being with her. I was in the pool. And then when it started to happen,
the
she was
photos
yelling
were
at
so
everybody.
beautiful.
She was yelling at everyone like, when's time to push? I'm ready to go. And the midwife was like,
I love
if you
it.
want to
She's
push, then
such a
push.
boss. She's such a boss.
She's a legend.
She's a legend.
And so
yeah.
they're like, okay, if you want to push, then push. So she starts pushing and out. Ozzy starts to come out. And I remember those moments because there was a light in the pool so you could kind of see him start to come. But I was behind her, so I couldn't see anything. And everyone was like talking about it. And I was like, what I can't see. I'm trying to look over her belly. And she's just like going through it. And when he came out, he'd spent a little long in the vagina, in the whatever you call it, canal. And so he came out floppy. And so then
their head's kind of like.
Yeah, they can't breathe for a while. And so then they had to wake him up.
Oh my God.
And so we're talking about 12 hours of Cara pushing and going through so much. And then this baby comes out that's not breathing. It's not there. And so the midwife is like, talk to him, Luke. Say hi. Talk to him. Because she can see that I'm
Panicking.
freaking. And
Did you have a panic attack?
And Cara's done because Cara's physically depleted. She's like, I'm done. I'm out. Like she was like, she even said at that point, I didn't even care. Like I was like, she was so gone. So the midwives have him and they're like smacking his feet, smacking his bum. And she's like, talk to him, Luke, talk to him. I'm like, hey. And then like they're smacking him. They're passing him one to the other. There's two of them. They're smacking him, trying to get him to wake up. Then the midwife, her name's Abby. She's sensational. Abby Vidican. She puts her mouth to his and she breathes air into his lungs.
Yeah.
It was so horrifying.
Oh my God.
It was so, like after such a long time of labor, I was like, if this baby isn't alive, what are we going to do?
Oh my God.
Anyway, it was alive. And she was like, the whole team was like, that's unusual. We do that all the time.
Oh
all
my
the time.
God.
And I was like, this is just for me. And then
This is just a Tuesday.
Exactly. And so then they hang out after. They take that same team took a birth the next night. They hang out afterwards. It's like a full night of work, and then like they go and eat after. They just love it. They love their lives,
so beautiful.
and it's so normal for them.
Yeah, that
and so
makes
for us,
sense.
it's like this is out of control. No one's in control. It's like we're in control. Don't worry about it. They were just taking care of me. Like my wife is like almost asleep at this point. I'm like, and she's like, just talk to him. And I was like, what is? Anyway, he's the most beautiful boy, my son, Ozzy. He's my second. So the first was
They're so
he's a
beautiful.
C-back, cesarean birth vaginal birth after cesarean.
Wow.
So we had a cesarean first. Wow. She would have loved to have had a natural birth for that, but the baby was in a breech, so it was side to side.
Yeah.
And then second was a real home birth with no pain meds.
She's such a boss. I love that she was trying to do
She really wanted to do that.
2 home births. Oh my God,
She
no
really
drugs.
wanted to do it. Well, I think there was in her, with the people surround her, she was like kind of ashamed to have a C-section, which is such nonsense. I was like, is it a beautiful baby?
Yeah, great. Yeah, healthy.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Healthy,
Who
happy
cares?
baby. Who
Yeah,
gives a
yeah.
I don't care about the cesarean.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, but I feel like, who cares, baby?
Yeah.
I also got to choose
She's
the
so
date.
tough. That's nice. Yeah, my
11/11.
friend. Wow.
I know. Design like
Scorpio?
a designer date. I wouldn't even know. So I don't even want to say. I don't know those things. Maybe.
Of course you do. Wait, hold on. We totally skipped over the jealousy and the how you like are just sharing all the parts of you, because I do find that like so fascinating of just because it seems like you guys have a beautiful relationship, and I think that that's like really important, because I think that, you know, when I hear from my friends, they're always like talking about like the whole dating, like the whole game of it all, you know, and I'm like, when it's the right person, you don't have to play a game. There is no game. Like you can literally do no wrong for the right person, and you can do everything wrong or you can do everything like wrong when it's not the right person.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Again, this is an annoying answer. It's just like the crazy story of how we met. She gave me as big a yes as I gave her, and I'd never experienced that in my life. So every romantic experience I'd ever had was she likes me more than I like her, or I like her more than she likes me, and was always trying to battle that out. That's the game. The game is who likes who more. And then you'd go out to parties and it's like, well, who's going to flirt with somebody else? I hope you don't flirt with somebody else, but I might flirt with somebody else, but I hope you don't. and it's like, that's when I met her, and we'd go out places and go to parties and things like that. I was always expecting that to happen, and it never did. And I was like, why would I expect for that to happen? It's because like my past had been like that. It was like always this game of like, who's going to like kind of like push interest from the other person by flirting with other people or whatever. Who's going to be inappropriate with other people? Like sometimes, you know, it's so odd, but that's my experiences in other relationships were that. Like, and then I met somebody whose yes was as big as mine, and I was like, we never did that. We never had those moments of, is she going to flirt with somebody else, or am I going to when we're out? Or does she like me more than I like her? Or do I like her more than she likes me? Like, no, we never did that. We that's why I knew I had to marry her, because I was like,
Wow.
yes, she gives me yes, and I'm yes. I'm
Yeah.
totally yes.
Yeah.
And she's totally yes. It was like
She was all in. So
she was all in.
And so you were all in and she was all in from the jump.
From the jump. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't
And
think
what
she
did
had
that
a
feel
single
like? Like,
doubt.
what did that look like for you? Like, so I'm just like trying to give context because I'm always trying to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm having my best friends on here, and they definitely had to work on it, but they have one of the best relationships. And I am always trying to figure out how to
it actually looks like?
Yeah, what does it actually look like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? Like,
It still freaks you out.
right?
'Cause
Really?
you-
How long have
yes,
you been married?
It doesn't freak me out now.
Oh.
Despite the fact that you're both giving each other big yeses and that everything's pointing to yes, you'll still have little freakouts from time to time. You'll just be like, just making sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, shut up,
Yeah.
idiot. You know,
That
it's
was
like,
perfect.
yeah,
It was perfect response.
perfect response. It's like that. Like, shut up, idiot. And that it doesn't mean you're without problems. And you know, we certainly experience those more and more now. You know, in a way, you're dating up until you have kids,
Yeah.
and then you're not dating anymore. It's like one long dating honeymoon. Then you
Yeah.
have kids, and then your attention is taken elsewhere. Your energy
Yeah.
dissipates for each other. You miss each other.
And then how do you
don't
find
get to
that?
romance each other as much
how
anymore?
How do you make time for how do you make time for dates? For date night? Do you guys
We have to fight to do so. Like, you know, get people to come and take care of the kids, babysitters.
yeah.
My mother-in-law, which is great to have her around.
having great moms.
Having
yeah.
family
It's
around
awesome.
is
Family
great.
around is great.
Yes, but that's, you know, to be honest, we're not great at that. We have to
Yeah.
be better. But we're dealing with that chaos, which is 2 kids under 5
Yeah.
who are unaware of what's going on in the world around them. We are in the trenches. It's called the trenches. Every other parent says, "Oh, you're in the trenches." I'm like, "Yeah, we're in the trenches." So like dates,
And you don't sleep as much. So you don't sleep as
no,
much.
you sleep fine.
Oh, you
because they
do?
go to bed early, and then
Oh.
you can go to bed early.
But
if
then
you so
so you just, as long as you like go to bed at like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. and you wake
so
up
they go
and
to
like
bed at 7:30, and I go
God.
to bed at 8:30.
oh wow.
And then I sleep until 5, and then I go up and I
Wow.
go and work out.
Nice.
And then by the time they're awake, which is usually
Yeah.
6:37, I'm there.
Wow.
And so you've worked out, you're with them,
Yeah.
and then you split time about who takes care of them, so somebody
Yeah.
can go to work, and that's me who goes to work.
Wow.
But honestly, I'd be if I was to give advice here, it'd be wrong, because we have to work on that. We're just
Yeah.
not good at it. Like, we need to be better at it, and we will get better at it as time goes on. I think what I'm looking for right now is like a focused effort from both of us, where we go, okay, we need to connect for 10 minutes.
Do you do eye stares?
I would like to.
Yeah.
Again, like, am I the feminine in this relationship? Sometimes maybe I am.
But you kind of switch. I think in great relationships, you switch back and forth. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, you have someone, you can't always have the other person leading, because it just, you go back and forth, and having the masculine and the feminine
Mm-hmm.
just trading off constantly, especially if you're an artist.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree. I would like to, like, I saw this video today on Instagram. It was a couple breathing together.
The breathing exercise, that's a tantric exercise.
She was sitting with her back to him, and he's holding her around her belly, and they're breathing
Yeah.
together. And so they breathe, and you know, his hands expand
Yeah.
as she breathes into her
and you
belly.
breathe at the same time.
And I was like, am I going to mock this and hate it? And as I was watching, I was like, oh no, this is really beautiful. And then in the captions, it's like, comment beyond bliss to get our couples thing. And I'm like,
Fuck.
I don't want to have to comment beyond bliss. Then I commented beyond
bliss.
Get this. But get this. They didn't DM me.
What?
And I'm like,
That's bullshit.
I've got to go back and find them and go, hey, where's my DM? You said you were going to send me the
Yeah.
course, the 4 things that couples could do to like
That's
connect.
but that's tantra. Have you ever done tantra?
No.
Tantra
Yes.
exercise. So
We've
it's
done
the eye
tantra
stairs.
sex,
So the
not the-
it is the eye stairs, and it is the connecting. So it's like really, it's just pure intimacy of like fully, you know, it's like the tree becoming one kind of thing.
Got it. We've done the meditation in like separately, and then eye contact, and then
Yeah.
everything else, which is great.
Yeah.
Which that was years ago. We should go back to that. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
But the sex is a whole other thing. I do want to have the sex that connects. I also just want to connect sometimes, because
Yeah.
you're in the
You
same
have the
house
sex with
as
the eye
somebody.
stairs. That's so intimate.
That's cool. I want to do
Yeah,
that.
that's-
I also
yeah.
like want to connect with the people in my home.
Yeah.
Sometimes you pass each other by and you're like, who is that just walked past? Like, that's your wife. You didn't even connect with them.
Really?
You know,
Well, sometimes
because you're
it's
busy.
Yeah,
You're
but it's
doing
also
things with
but it's
kids.
also space, and then you come like you can come back together and share your stories of like, here's my day and here's what happened, and
Yeah.
you know, the trials and tribulations and
The trials and tribulations. I know him well. I know him well.
So also before we wrap this up, also you're very conscientious about health, and so you're like, I was watching just about how you were knowledgeable just about tampons and how they're so toxic.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm currently on my period right now, and I and so I only use organic, like it's like super organic and whatever, and I know like
Cool. What brand?
It's like organic. I don't remember.
Organic. Okay.
don't
I heard
know.
that Natura is really good.
I think that's
N-A-T-U-I.
I think that's what I
I got Cara on that too. It just their third party tested, but what they were finding was that there was high level, like 16
Lead?
different lead, mercury in tampons, and they don't know why
they're
that
trying to
is
kill
in
us.
there. They think that maybe it's because the cotton itself is sprayed with toxins in order to grow the cotton, or that it's put in there by the companies for
the smelling,
for
the douche,
neutralizing
right, the
smell,
smell.
which
Yeah.
it's like, oh, vaginas shouldn't smell.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like, yes, they
naturally.
should.
Yeah. Well, as long as you like shower, you know, it's like if
sure.
it's sweaty,
Just
like
a regular
like,
degree of smell.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
But
human
pharmaceutical
smell.
companies will love to make you feel insecure about literally everything.
Yeah.
And particularly women.
They
That's what
they
do.
prey on fear so they can get you to consume and buy and be
Yes.
like, more. You have
Yes.
you have a lack in your life. You're not whole. You're broken.
Yes.
And here, let me shove this down your throat to solve your problem. But let me you're still broken. And it's like pharmaceuticals is like,
Yeah.
let's keep you on the train of brokenness.
Totally.
And we can just keep feeding that brokenness. So you have to buy our products and we can
Yes.
keep you sick.
This is the thing that's going to make you better, but this is the thing that's going to counteract the thing that's going to make you better, so that you're now on 2 medications.
Oh my
And you've got to
God.
counteract the counteraction now. So you've got to take 3
3 medications. And then there's more of that.
And they're expensive.
Oh my
And this
God.
one isn't covered by your medical insurance. And then it's like on and on and on. It's the biggest
crazy.
racket in the world is the American health system. And hopefully there are people out there going to do something about it. But the best thing that you can do as a human being right now, if you're listening to this, is be aware that there are the 4 horsemen of health. A, movement, 8,000 steps a day minimum. Go as high as you want to, beyond 8, but it's got to be 8. What are you up to?
2,000.
Oh, it's going to be fine. Don't even worry about it. Go for a walk.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then eat enough protein and eat enough fiber.
Yeah,
Usually,
yeah.
just eat 3
Make sure you're
vegetables a
pooping.
day and 2
Yeah.
pieces of fruit. Eat enough, preferably high quality protein, which means animal source protein,
Yeah.
dairy, meat, and then sleep 6 to 8 hours more.
Sleep.
If you
Honestly,
want to.
that is my. I think how I stay young so much is just sleeping.
Yes.
Like Federer, he was like 10 hours, and I'm like, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna follow the great. And
Federer
literally,
does 10 hours. That
it
was
was like
it?
9 or 10 hours when
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
like in his prime.
Also, like an elite athlete.
Yeah.
He probably needs to sleep 10 hours.
Yeah.
Like LeBron sleeps 10 to 12 or something.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I literally think you can get indulgent with drinking or whatever, and as long as you just sleep a lot, you can kind of sleep it off, and it's like the counteract. I mean, it's where your body rejuvenates, and
Yeah.
I think it's like I swear by sleeping.
Yeah. What was the 4 horsemen I was going through? Exercise,
Exercise.
which is movement. I said
the
10,000,
fiber,
8,000 steps a
fiber.
day minimum. Wait. I want to go back. 8,000 to 10,000 steps minimum per day. Resistance training as many times a week as you can do. Fiber. Vegetables and fruit.
Meat,
protein,
dairy.
preferably from animal source, which is
Right.
high quality. That's 3. What's the 4th one?
I don't know. What's the 4th
Sleep,
horse?
movement,
sleep.
food.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
Sleep.
it was.
Said
You didn't
sleep.
say sleep yet.
yeah, we said sleep, and then the
Sleep,
4th.
movement, food. Oh, shit.
Off.
That would have been incredible if I knew the 4th one. The 4 horsemen of health. Probably stress mitigation.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
Probably stress mitigation.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can do all those things, but if you're
Who's
running,
stressed
if
piece
you're,
of
if you're, if you're like revving that, like, if you're revving it into the red, your engine, forget it. Yeah.
4 horsemen of health. Sleep.
Stress. The stressies?
Eating good food.
We still don't know the 4th one. Is it the stressies?
Exercise. How can I be so shit at this?
I don't know.
All I'm getting here is all like the 4 ways of death.
And don't die. But I'd say that it would be to mitigate stress. So the best ways of mitigating stress is to live mindfully, like that. Literally, lowers your
Meditation,
cortisol.
breathing.
Getting in the sun or getting into outside as soon as you wake up.
What's with the
to set
taint?
circadian
The
rhythm.
taint in the sun.
You don't
What
need
is
the
what
sun,
is that? Who
You don't
does
need
that?
the sun your taint.
What is that?
There's just this idea that there is that your skin and is very thin there. So there's a huge access for the sun to be absorbed there. Same with testicles, has a really thin, scrotum is very thin. So
Got
people
it.
use red light on their balls to increase testosterone, but that actually works.
Wow. Okay.
Not for women because you don't have balls.
Yeah.
And you don't have thin skin there. But the taint is what they do instead, butthole sunning because it's very thin. But it's also a very sensitive area of your body.
Yeah.
So you need to be cautious of the way that you sun it.
And what's your take on GMOs and the bendy? By the way, I encountered the bendy mangoes.
The bendy fruits?
The bendy fruits. It's
Yeah, it's
disgusting. I had to return them to Whole Foods. By the way, I think it's A-peel.
Was it
Apeel?
organic? Yeah,
The A-peel where they put this coating on to keep the life longer for vegetables and food. And then the shelf life is supposed to stay longer, but then they just become bendable and it's like a real problem.
Yeah, it is a real problem. Look, buy organic if you can. Buy the highest grade meat that you can. If you can't, still eat vegetables and fruit. Wash them properly. And if you can't
Baking
buy
soda,
a really,
right?
really,
The baking
that's
soda
it.
helps like
That's really great
with
for it.
like berries and because I eat a lot of
Yes.
berries and
But then if you use a and if you can't afford high quality meat, then get the less fatty cuts.
yeah,
That's it.
cool. I think we've solved all the problems.
How long did we go for?
I think like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we're like 215.
Guys, this is an awesome podcast. Luke, I really enjoy your company.
Really
You're
enjoy
just,
yours.
You're
What a joy.
just wonderful.
We didn't know each other, by the way.
We didn't know each other at all. I mean, I was
know.
sort of like worried. I was like, my first podcast, I was so nervous with Dave. And I know Dave Foley, I had him on, but I was like, literally every time, because when you're nervous, you're like, you get kind of parched. And then I was like trying, but I get shaky. And then I was like, oh, and then having to I'm like, no, put it down.
Yep.
And so then I was hiding my face the whole time and so at times
good.
I would get nervous, but like, I felt, enough of a little bit of I get in social anxiety.
That's good though. A bit of pressure is good because you rise to the occasion.
No, totally.
And you did. You
this
didn't
is-
rise to the occasion. There was no occasion, but this has been great.
This has been great.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love talking to you. It was
Love
really
talking
fun.
to you.
Yeah, cool.
Guys, the code for Aviator Nation.
Wait, hold on. Before we finish, we need to talk about your show. We need to talk really quickly about your show.
It's Good Cop, Bad Cop. It's a comedy procedural. Leighton Meester and me are the leads. We play brother and sister detectives.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hopefully it's going to be good.
Yeah. Did you have the best
I don't know
time?
what I'll do. It was so good. We got to shoot in Australia. It was an American show that shot in Australia. Yeah, it was great.
That's amazing.
Very, very cool.
So you're close to
I'm really
home.
hoping that it goes well.
And then you get to film more and be at home.
Do more, and
yeah.
it'd be great to, be in a winning show myself. That's kind of mine. in a way.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. It's
I
on
think you're doing
CW
it.
and Roku, and it comes out in January or February. So
That's
Keep
amazing.
an eye out.
That's amazing. Okay. Bye, guys.
XOXO. Gossip Girl.
A whole nother level.